Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the next season of League Matchup Showcase. So, Vexer and I have both uh, taken a break from playing in the league, which is then quite funny that we've decided to then showcase these matches in 45-minute games. The league is amazing. I love it to death. I'm hoping to jump back in here at some point. But like it's tough for both of us to keep the async games going. Even like two async games a week is totally reasonable, but for some reason it is just a little bit much for me. But we're both we managed to do the entirety of season 20 uh for last season. So the league is uh there's five matchups. You play one matchup a week. uh you play both sides of that matchup. It's like just a great way to get started playing Summoner Wars. There's different divisions, so like you join at the bottom, so like you're going to be playing against players that are also pretty new, and then if you the top two players in each division advance, bottom two are demoted. And it's just a great way. Like, this is how I got started playing in the Summoner Wars community, and like your opponents from the previous season are going to be your practice partners for the next season. It's just a great way to get into Summoner Wars, and so we're just but so normally the games are played async, and we're not playing in the league right now, but we're just having fun playing these matchups on our own just to see what they look like in a 45-minute game. So we did the season 20. Hopefully this season we'll be able to do each of these on the weekend. We might always things might happen and we might end up not doing all five, but we'll see how it goes. And this first matchup is Groaks versus Tundra Orcs. Um, okay, and looks like Vexer's ready, so I won't say too much here. You can skip to the end of the video where it says well, like the analysis or the matchup overview will like go over in detail what this matchup looks like. But in short, Hecatea is just like you get boosts, and boosts are good, but boosts are good for a particular reason that other decks don't have. You have your potions are all about like just controlling things. Swift potion, great movement for yourself. Strong potion, great like attack power boost. But then you also have poison potion and wither potion, which is just great control of the opponent. But honestly, I think what Hecate excels with most is your warriors and your seers. These seem like the best use of boosts for me, and the potions kind of synergize with that. Warriors, you boost it to 5, it attacks for 6, amazing. You take all the boosts off in the magic phase with a potion, and like bam, what a combo. And Seers, this card is just sort of the ultimate turtle card. You're if your opponent just lets you sit back with two Seers with 5 boosts, there's like very few, if any, factions that seem like they can beat that at a range. And I could be wrong. I've only played like I don't know, some like 30 games uh, with these guys, so this is all very speculative. But Tundra Orcs are a faction that I think can deal with Hecatea very well. And so again, this is all very speculative. I could be wrong, but the way I'm feeling right now is I think the factions that'll struggle most with Hecatea are factions that when they rush, it doesn't work. Like they just can't rush Hecatea, like breakers. Breakers try to rush Hecatea. Their mind witches are attacked from behind their deceivers. Like they just don't have the high health units to rush. Like breakers, they're not supposed to rush. They're not built to rush. But unfortunately, they're still gonna kind of lose the ranged game against Hecatea just because Seers are so powerful. So they're kind of forced to. Maybe that's my read on that matchup. But so Tundra Orcs are the opposite of that. They are the perfect faction to rush Deepwood Groaks, like because normally like the problem with rushing is you're exposed, but if your units are just big and beefy, it's really not an issue if they're exposed. Great at coming in, great at like smashing down gates. Like the way I love to play Deepwood Groaks is have Seers camping behind 5 health gates. Thunder Orcs seem like they have they have the tools. They have the tools to deal with the Groaks. So I think this probably a very even matchup. And with that, let me send a link. do. This this is the first time we've had uh as we always have the community vote on who plays which faction. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Do do do. This is the first time that one faction has not gotten a single vote. Um, there are 13 votes. We got 13 votes for. Okay, well let me just show it on screen. Do do do. 13 votes for Tundra Orcs, not a single vote for Deepwood Groaks. That has never happened before for Vexer to play Tundra Orcs. The people want Vexer to suffer, and I am all for it. I feel like this is a good match for Tundra Orcs, but this is just a good match overall. But we will see. Oh, I meant to do. Um, I did the wrong timer on that game. Okay, should be good to go. So yeah, we're not playing with a 45-minute timer. We're playing with an hour timer. Um, and we're gonna do it, and we've even talked. We're gonna totally stick to it this time. Absolute. If you get over the hour, concede. You can finish out your turn, and then next turn, it's over. Um, all right, let's get going. Getting in there, Tundra Orcs, nothing too special. Didn't draw a Warden in our starting hand. That's a little bit sad. Got a Warrior. Hmm. Warrior and Mystic maybe is the play. Mystics are kind of just like hard countered by Frost Shamans, though. Not a huge fan. Ooh, that is terrifying. We might get board wiped. Well, it's gonna be a quick game, folks. Oh my goodness. That ain't it. Why is everyone giving back to the Tundra Orcs here, guys? Guys, this is a problem. No. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, and they're also gonna get the boost. Gotta re-roll that. All right. Do you play withers and poisons are they most situational? Feels like Swift and Strong are more than enough. That's sort of how I found. I mean, I'm still very new to them, but yeah, Strongs and Swift seems like staples. Withers and poisons can be like what I haven't appreciated playing Deepwood Groaks. I appreciate more playing against Deepwood Groaks. The right turn with a Wither potion just feels like you are screwed. Like you can't do anything. So they definitely have a place, but I'm definitely I'm comfortable discarding them. What the fuck do we do here? Do we just concede and try to start another one? No. Oh, terrible, terrible. Um, Primal Fury there is just a classic. Yeah, it is rough. Oh, I should post about this. Thinking about those discards there, huh? Going up to 5. Discard 2. Yep. Going up to 5. Threaten the champion. Oh my goodness. See, this is like this is what you love to see with Conjure Orcs. I don't know, just putting a warrior there is like, what am I doing with my life? You know. Um, kind of want to damage Grognak. Might just occupy your gate next turn almost completely. I know, right? So I want to stop that from happening. Um, like I could occupy it myself. Um, I'm thinking of putting a Mystic over here to make that a little bit difficult. I mean, Grognak could still go there with another Primal Fury, but hopefully they don't have that. Like, I at least want to make it difficult. I don't want to leave a unit here, because then Grognak just goes here and places a gate, and, like, that's pretty good. Or just, like, goes back. I don't know. I like being there. I think I want Hecatea to stay here, too. I don't think I want to go back a spot. I don't think I want to give that gate spot. Luckily, he didn't have a gate in hand. Tell me about it. Um, I could put a Seer behind Hecatea and have that also attack the fighter if we need it. I don't like Hecatea being in range of whatever this is. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan. I think Hecatea goes back a spot. Does the Mystic hit Grognak? Is there a world? And I'm not sure what potions we hold. I don't think it matters a ton. We can get the Seer to 4 already. Okay, is there any way they could possibly get to this Seer? I think it's fine. I think it's no. I think we're fine. I think we want to threaten Grog. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and this way Hecatea isn't just gonna get punched by whatever comes out of that gate. So I like the sound of that. And yeah. Don't even need the boost on the Seer, but we'll do it nonetheless. And yeah, I'm hitting Grog. Feels weird, feels kind of bad, but eh. Um, Poison Potion is gone. Swift Potion is gone. Is the Warrior gone? We don't have the boosts in hand, and I really want to draw another gate. Discarding a Warrior seems like a really big fat L, but the fact that, I mean, we could do this differently. We could end the turn with 2 boosts on Hecatea. Worth it. It might be. But without a potion in hand, Donkey says discard. Are you memeing on me? Did Donkey like Shadow get back into the game or something? Um, yeah, he knows what that means. But it's still only 2 boosts. So like, do we even care? Do we even care? Two boosts and hold the warrior and pray. All right, let's do it. Rewarded, got the gate, got another potion. Could have gone to 3 boosts. I mean, threatening an attack for 5 is enough. No, but his YouTube video says discard aggressively. Yep, yeah, and that's I think it's been pretty internalized. I feel like most people are on board with the like discard aggressively in the beginning strat. It was interesting that there's like different. Oh, yep. I was just thinking of what Fuzzy said in our last scuffle. With like some players that don't do that, like Lena, who's like never really been like following the donkeys and their water Ds with their hot tips that everyone needs to know, like sort of have their own play styles going. And Aaron is another person that doesn't discard super heavily. This seems kind of bad for me. I forgot about Chargers could occupy that gate. Should the seer have been here? I was scared. I don't think it should have been there. Um, Vexer is more scared of pumped up warriors and pumped up seers. Yeah, I've heard him say that. It's interesting. Mystic been might have been better off in F3. A, B, C, D, F3. Interesting. But then Grog could have just swept around that way. Um, so short stream today. Oh goodness. It's fine. Unless there's a Primal Fury and a Brutal Force. In which case, we do just lose. No, but then he'd go to that gate spot. It'd be fine. It'd be fine. Maybe we should have discarded that warrior. um, a Swift Potion technically could get a warrior to Grognak. Is that worth it? It fucking might be. Be a pretty silly play. Because we would be leaving the warrior with that many boosts. But Seer could go there, Hecatea goes there. Other unit goes there. And then the warrior goes there. Um Not what I'm used to at all, and yeah, and then we put a gate there. But that would threaten Grog. That's one way to turn this game on his head. If he has Brutal Force, decent chance we're dead. Hecatea gets pushed to here, can be shot by anything. Another Primal Fury, plus the Brutal Force, plus for glory, anything would kill us. Our other option here, we might as well consider like another play, given that we got time or something like that. Um, okay. Can only summon one unit. Could send a warrior here and retreat. It feels bad to. Okay, okay. Let's not worry about where the units end up. We could put a gate here. We could put a gate here. We could try to just have the Groak cave back here. I think Vexer will be able to capitalize that just by placing another gate though, and like then he's exactly where he wants to be. Um Possible Targan play. True, true. Um my play does 9 damage to him right now. And makes him I can't justify any like we're in a tough position and this gives us an out. Like this gives us a world like I just can't justify any other play besides the one where I hit him for 9 right now. Generally banking 5 magic to trip you up on the possibilities. Yeah, that's something Orange Lazarus has said about like the strategy to like beat the donkey mind is like donkey is just a player that can account for all the possibilities. I think this was on the podcast he was on with Aaron and Jexic. But Donkey could just like have all the possibilities in his mind. He's always going to be considering everything you could do. And so the way to sort of break the computer is to have a ton of magic. So he has to play around ridiculous things. Yeah, I heard that. It's a very funny take. Okay, there's no way I'm not doing this play. I'm sorry. Like why can't I summon that? It's like stupid and dumb and risky, but like if only I had only taken one, if only I had taken another boost off that here. Um, oh, we would have a swift potion technically. This is so silly. So we could Swift Potion back, but I don't think we would want to. Like, I don't know. I'm dead to whatchamafuck. Like, whatever. Like, whatever. Let's just hope that we make Grognak trip up a little bit over himself, right? Oh, Hecate is gonna get another boost when she attacks. Easy. Okay, do we want to do Swift Potion? Swift Potion Hecatea back? I feel like we don't. Like, I know it slightly decreases the chances that we're dead. I'm just not in the mood to play around that. I don't know. Okay. Okay, now Arcane Brew still is active. Could be a lethal mistake. The fact that we don't have a potion in hand also like sucks a big one. Momentum. And we're not gonna Swift Potion. Ugh, like, we are much safe. If we Swift Potion back, there's kind of nothing they can do to kill us. But the Swift Potion charge could really help, and like they're gonna have to go all like they're gonna have to go all in to kill me this turn otherwise. So okay, I think the warrior's gone because we don't have boosts. I think we hold the seer because that's probably helpful next turn. A little bit crazy to hold that 3 magic right now when we kind of want to draw it, but I think the seer is going to be helpful next turn. I'm going to hold. My hand is blue. All right. Well, if Vexer doesn't just immediately kill me, that means he's going to have a tough turn. Well, I mean, definitely punished. With this hand, we would have wanted to discard another seer, but couldn't have known. Hopefully, we'll have a gate spot next turn. We'll definitely have at least one. How do they get out of this? So, assuming they can't kill me with some like brutal force play, um, like gotta go here and place a gate. Like they gotta really they like Vexer has to lose all of his momentum right now, um, to do a play like that. And if you don't have a gate, how do you even? I don't even think it's possible without a gate. And like you're not even killing my warrior. The fact that he's taking this play so quickly has me a little bit scared. Okay, no, he's not killing me. First, I done heard the frogs described as all blue. They're they're blue. I guess there's some orange, some green. They're just blue, except for this guy. This guy. It's so sad how like so much of his art got cropped out. Very sad. Thank goodness for the online version to give us the full art. I want some full prints of Summoner Wars art to hang up in my room. Sounds great. All right, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like that was the hot counterplay. Like it's not the typical play to just like keep a warrior alive, or it's not typical to like because this warrior just dies with all the boosts on it. But like this stops his momentum, by taking a big risk, but with a big reward. It's gonna be tough for him to be safe, and he knows I have Swift Potion, so He knows that that's an option. I probably won't even go for that though. Like at this point, I'll be happy that we can take a breather and try to set up our econ game. He's got to have a gate, otherwise he's dead. I mean, Hecate having no boost actually. Let's say he did just like, oh my goodness, he did just like have Grognak here, and Grognak can be hit on one side, however it works. I'm pretty sure he knows that he's not dead. I mean, like, well, like, I mean, it sort of depends on the sign, because maybe with a Swift Potion, there could be two attacks, but yeah, with the Swift Potion, there could be two attacks, actually, so he could be dead still. But the TLDR being, if Hecatea doesn't have 3 boosts on her, it's the only other way to boost Seers um, is with Blue Mystics. So Hecatea can get 1 boost and put that on a Seer, and a Blue Mystic can get another. So you can get a warrior up to 4 boosts from scratch in a single turn if Hecatea has no boost, but never more than that. I mean, I guess 4 boosts still is like most of them, so that's it's a little bit rough. Um, but at least like you have to work for it in that case. Hecatea at 3 boosts is just like it's just easy warrior at 5. At 6 attack, whatever you so desire. Our other Swift Potion is gone. Oh my goodness, is it really? Okay. Swift Potions are funny because like they're really good, and yet like sometimes I'll end up like having them for a while and not use them. So I'm not like the word playing this game. They've gotten the benefit from putting the early pressure on me, forcing me to play this Swift Potion without a ton of value. That's gonna hurt. That is definitely gonna hurt. I pointed his Frost Shaman avatar. Is he a monster? um, I might be. This I spiritually resonate with this Frost Shaman. I identify as this Frost Shaman. What they just play for glory? Cool. You don't have a. Please tell me you have a gate vexer. Please tell me is this the fora? Is this? Please tell me this isn't it. Me when I'm a monster, honestly. Oh my goodness, he doesn't have a gate. Did we just win? Man, this Vexer guy, like, really needs to practice up a little bit. I'm so excited for the 45-minute queue. On Tuesday we're getting 45-minute queue. It's coming back. Nope, he took back that play. 45-minute queue coming back on Tuesday. You'll love to see it. What is that about? He doesn't want me to do this. I don't see, but like, am I missing something? You're still dead till like Swift Potion plus any other 2 attacks. Do you have to re-roll that? You might need the 2, because if you get 2 specials, you're winning. But the odds of getting 4 on 4 is not guaranteed. Yep. Vector just needs to hope that I miss a little bit, which is entirely possible. It is most certainly a thing that could maybe happen. All right, well, Uh, nothing to nothing to be done for it. Nothing. No way we're getting more dice than this. Does this guy hide? I honestly don't see why he would. Like, we're just gonna block ourselves. All right. Get a six. Get a six. Do do do. I don't know. Get a six. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's get the six. All right, we got a two. We got another two. All right, and for all the marbles here, and there we go. It keeps trying to hold your messages for bullying, Fuzzy. I have to allow them. I am a monster. I am. I have destroyed the Vexer. Vexer stood no chance. Do to do. Press start new game. All right, we might start. Let's see. I'm asking Vexer. All right, Vexer says let's do another one. All right, we're playing again. Grata says I was right. Short stream today. Um, Vexer says let's do another one. It'll probably be fast too. These games are pretty straightforward many times. Um, Let me see if he wants to switch sides. Patch to add extra. Patch to add extra. The two. What did Hagrada? What is that sentence? All right, we're doing another one. We are gonna switch sides this time. See how this fares in reverse. Vexer had a very good start that game. That's pretty rough. But yeah, I'm definitely not a fan if like the all the Deepwood Groaks matchups are you gotta just run forward, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like there's not much like there's not much like strategy there. Uh, Patch to add the extra the oh I see. Okay, like the Tundra Orcs. Yeah, no, that seems fair. I'd agree. Um, all right, we go first again. We drew bad cards instead of good cards. Hate to see it. Hate to see it. I wonder if Grognak ever goes forward here. Do we ever go forward and place a gate with Grognak? Um, do we stand any chance playing defense this matchup? Like, if I just put a gate here, is that at all winnable? Um, because I really don't love the gate here since that's so easily occupied. We could do a gate here. I don't like because this is normally the gate I do with Tundra Orcs. Um, I think we want to rush forward. It's just a little bit suck. It just suck a little bit. I think we want to rush forward because we want the smashers to be smashing warriors and stuff. Um, Not a terrible first hand, I don't think. And this first turn, whatever, Grognak can take a little bit of a beating. I don't care. It's not what I would typically, where I would typically expect to put that gate. We're really hoping fighter double attack. I don't really want to put a ton of boost on this Warden, but whatever. Whatever. Hey, maybe we'll 5 for 5 it. Easy game. This is attacks and damages, right? Oh, is there worlds where we don't even want to do this attack because it's gonna do like 1 damage sometimes? It's fine. You can get it. These always hit. Oh my goodness. I am the king of Frost Shaman. Bow to me. Bow to me. Vexer has nothing. Easiest 5 for 5 of my life. Didn't even flinch. that is very lucky to get the frenzy roll, and also 3 for 3 with Frost Shaman is like it's like a 17% chance or something, because I know like 3 for 3 without a Frost Shaman, or 3 for 3 normally is like 25%, right? Or no, it's 25% the chance to only get one. Okay, well now I'm like well now I gotta know. Hits for hits hits for 3 on bow. Yeah, okay, so 25% chance to do only one, 30% chance to do at least 3. All right, I'm guessing it goes down to 17% chance once we add the Frost Shaman. Okay, Vexer's doing things, but that's fine. We can replay it. Where is this? Frost Shaman attacking. Roll the dice. 17% chance. I'm right. I am the god of Frost Shamans. Shonk dropping. All right, avert your eyes. Spoilers. All right, let's see what he did. Yeah, Ben got this. We're in there. We might have to do a similar stupid thing of just like charging up with Grognak though. It's a shame he didn't kill that Frost Shaman so we could just drop Shonk. Wow. Vector can't get anything done today. No boost on Hecatea. Skill issue. Bring a Frost Shaman up there. I could put a Charger there, but that's countered pretty hard by the Seer. Oh, or I could just put Shonk. Oh, let's just do that. Okay. Um, no brains, all punch face good. Are we good? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. The Primal Fury on the gate isn't the worst thing. Take that. We take that. Occupying this gate might actually be good. I might take the special if we get it. Do we influence that? How much would we want to occupy this gate? It's pretty tough for them to get around to Grognak. Do we do we influence that to get that? I mean, taking down their gates is very helpful. But it does give them 2 lines of attack. I think I am gonna go for the frenzy. I'm not entirely sure if it's right. Easiest game in my life. We're just gonna kill this gate right now. Goodness, I forgot how much I love Tundra Orcs when everything's going well. All right, damn it. Just frenzy heck it to death. I know, like there's that rush of like I can just kill her right now. Okay. Targan is good, but I kind of want to discard her so we can play smashers. Targan is good. And it's can't be hit by seers. I don't think that that's the game plan right now though, unfortunately. The game plan is smashers and draw gates and draw our other fury. Yeah, okay, cool. We have succeeded on the game plan. Informs me this five. All right, I'm glad you approve of attacking the gate. I agree. It seemed good. Bring it down a little bit, so maybe we can take it out sometime later. Grognak putting pressure on the gates, always very good strategy. You've got good instincts. All right, we're gonna start wanting to play the game of like how much can we occupy everything. What unit? All right, did anyone see what unit Vector just played? Because I wasn't watching. Was it a warrior? Let's see if my subliminal um subliminal information reception is good. Ugh, only three on the gate is a little unfortunate. We being able to pressure even the 10 health gate is extremely valuable. To the point where like I wonder because normally I would just be like let's just drop our own gate here. Maybe we don't even want to do that because we want to just like keep threatening this gate. We just want to threaten all of the gates. I mean, we could just keep Grognak here and put a gate behind us. It's a little silly because like there's no retreat plan, but maybe we don't need it if we can just keep everything occupied. And yeah, that seer. If Hecatea kills this, boosts the seer. Seer can now attack this. It's gonna take a while to get through shock. That's ideal. If Hecateus like stayed there, I don't know. Hopefully the Primal Fury use. Since we just played Primal Fury, he might not play around it a ton. We shall see. And yeah, dropping both freezes that first turn, night like that gave us a huge magic boost without needing to hold on to anything. That's real nice. Interesting. Am I being baited? Yes. Will I take the bait? Perhaps. Mayhaps. Indeed, I shall. I think that'd be pretty dumb of me. I don't know where, because like we could do this, but like there's no worlds where we kill all of the gates. I'm guessing a potion's being played on this seer too. Otherwise, they definitely would expose it so much. Or Hecate is just taking the boost off of it. Yeah. Um. Okay, so this is the part of the game where things start to look a little bit hairier because now, now there is the possibility of warriors. So we need to find a good spot for this gate. I immediately like primal furying this and this, but again, we're gonna be hit in the face with the like. There's no chance he doesn't have a warrior. Okay, he discarded three. He might not have a warrior, but he'd have to get pretty unlucky. And there was one card he held that could have been a warrior. No, he played a gate. He played his whole hand that turn. Okay. Well, he might not have a warrior, but it's pretty risky nonetheless. Not a big fan of it. But taking out this gate does take out a lot of pressure. I don't like. Okay, what's our other option here? We keep this gate here. We just send a smasher here, And I mean that gets one shot by a warrior and a shaman. Vexer stats counting by fives. I see it. I see it. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. Even like the units on the board. So the big thing I'm like thinking about is I don't really know if I want to drop that gate there because like that just we lose a lot of forward momentum that we could have. Especially like the stupid Primal Fury play. Okay. What because the stupid Primal Fury play is this. And now I'm exposed on this side. So they come here and occupy that spot. They hit me for 6 dice plus 4 for Hecatea, plus maybe even something else if they have like a Swift Potion. Um, they hit Grognak for so many dice. Um, but I'm worried if we don't take out this gate, what's gonna happen to us? Okay, what if we do a Charger, Smasher, Primal Fury, Gate, and Heck? um, and I don't know. We place our own gate back there. I think I like that. Because now they have to worry about protecting Hecatea, so they can't just like do the warrior and Hecatea. Um, they can still super easily attack me on 2 sides, um, which is admittedly a very big problem. Is this gate behind Grognak good? Like, how dead are we when we Primal Fury to there? Primal Fury triggers on gates, right? Yeah. How dead are we when we Primal Fury there? They they can only do one. I mean, like 1 attack, 2 attack, 3 attack, 6 dice, 10 dice. But Hecatea surely dies if they do. Well, Hecatea is like only at 8, and now Grognak has no way to retreat. Um, but this is the only way to take out that gate. The only way to take out this gate is with Grognak. We could just not Primal Fury. But the thought of putting Hecate at a 7, pretty juicy. Even though it's gonna like cost us our life. Alright, well. They don't say Grog smash for nothing, right? Okay. Do better. Honestly? Okay, honestly. Do we just freaking keep this? Because then the warrior has to come from here. There's no way Hecatea can slide in there to hide. Oh my god, is this a blessing in disguise? Now this spot is occupied by a shit unit. Huh. I'm glad, Fuzzy. I'm glad you guys are both enjoying it. I like I'm a monster attacking the like who's Vexer right now? Like a like shadow cloak guy? I don't know. Like I feel like he's the bad guy in this world. Yeah, this is clearly the play, right? Like why let him choose what unit he can play there? Okay, let's do shock attack first. So we don't get out of range. 3, we take a 3. Do 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 do. Please don't miss. Thank you. Do we discard this Frost Shaman at this point so we can play another Smasher next turn? I think we might. We've been holding this whole game, so like, oh my goodness. I need to like really eat my words when I'm discarding that, but I feel like I'd rather have more magic and cycle at this point than Frost Shaman. Yeah, and we're absolutely rewarded. This hand is much better. I mean, I guess we didn't. This hand never requires 4 magic, but whatever. We at least were not punished, and maybe that extra magic will help us out since this is looking much more like a try to smash her while we can game than anything else. So yeah, the only way they can go for it is 6. Uh, could be 7, 10, 15 dice. More likely, we're looking at 14 dice with the strength potion, or without the strength potion, just 12 dice. And Hecatea's like with the 4 glory in hand, that's the perfect draw. If Hecatea goes here for this kill, she's absolutely dead. I mean, not absolutely. Nothing is absolute when it comes to Grognak, but she's probably dead. Do, do, do. Are we going for it? I mean, if you have a gate in hand, maybe it's reasonable. Then I'm only maybe I've just talked up a big talk and now I'm about to die. Possible Swift Hecatea to F8. Uh, what I assume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is F8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yes, I see. Here, Hecatea Swift there. Yeah, absolutely. Hecatea to here. Also, if you just place a gate there, okay. I was super cocky, but you just place a gate there. There's no way I'm killing Hecatea. I'm dead next turn. All right, we might have succumbed to our hubris here. We'll see. Yeah, warrior caps at 6 because it's +5 and they start at 1. This is something I wish Joe would change. I wish when you clicked on the card, it would display like the base values, base health and base strength. Please no gate. Just let me kill you, Vexer. Just let me win too whenever. I need this. After last season, I need this. This is pretty much a replay of the last game. That is what Vexer said it would be. How do I know you're not Vexer? Um, I mean, you're about to see Vexer and I in the same room, so the proof shall be here soon, I promise. I'm sighing. Yeah, if there's a gate, I mean, there's still a way for Glory gets a kill here, but it like requires an 8/8 and a fighter roll, and we're just gonna lose. Ugh. At least we had the sense to leave the seer alive, right? No gate, no gate, no gate, no gate. Yeah, no, that was like definitely a blessing in disguise. That seer. No gate, 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 no gate. Pressing the undo button. He's worried about it. Maybe so do you think okay, no, I'm curious for opinions in chat. Do you think I should have last turn? So let's see. I could have just destroyed this gate and not moved up. If I just destroy that gate and not move up, I'm not putting Grognak in a position where I'm gonna get killed. But I just like I saw the 4 extra dice on Heck, and I was like, let's do it because it's gonna force them to commit like this. But do you think I was better off just staying back here, even though I'm not putting on as good as pressure? What would you have done? Would you have Primal Furied up one space or no? Build phase. You hit end. You hit end phase, Vexer. Vexer. The end phase button. Oh, go. Always dive in with Grognak. Like so true though. Okay, I think we win. I think we win. Without the gate, we win. Unless we die right now, but we've already. That's already not going to happen since they've already missed their dice. Yes, yes. I take it that is the cheat code to just win the game immediately. Leslie, thank you very much. We can still lose. I mean, like if this charger doesn't kill itself, there's several things that could go poorly. Um, should we just bring a smasher in instead? What's what are the better odds? So my first thought was charger plus shaman. Charger kills itself, shaman attacks Grognak, but now I'm thinking, hey, maybe it's better to just do Grognak. Grognak plus a smasher with a reroll. Like, what? There's no world that doesn't hit, right? Um, and I think I would want to do this because that's safer. But I could do this with a smasher with a shaman behind it. But if the smasher goes if the smasher hits 6, we've won the game. It's over. Um, there's no discussion. Okie dokie. Another quick one. 8 out of 10 melee is 77% chance. I mean, you make me second guess it a little bit. But then if you factor in a reroll, maybe does the app do this even? I don't know how it works. No, just bro attacking with influence. If you factor in the reroll, it probably goes up to like reroll. I don't know. If you factor in the reroll, surely that goes up to like at least 90. With my patented Ben like not actual math. Um, do this attack first, just so we know how much we hit for. All right, it's guaranteed. Easy game. And perfect. Didn't yeah, it does it does seem like when you put these two back to back, it does seem like a fairly one-sided matchup in which like like if Vexer had a gate there, if Vexer had a gate in hand, I think he just won that game. Like I think Grognak was pretty trapped. If that previous turn was just gate here, like we're in a pretty bad spot. Unfair game, but they have already placed 2 gates. Unfair game. I will take the 2 W's. Let's see how salty Vexer is. Is Ben mean? Only to my enemies. Let me quickly do a mic text. See how loud my volume is. Do. That's pretty loud. How do you guys deal with that? Like, do. Okay. Hello, hello.
Hey,
Massimo, we have done
man,
both of
good
them.
games.
Good game, good game. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, so those are usually go that way, right? Like they're pretty all-in type of games, and end up being like who has the key piece of the puzzle that you need to do this type of plays at the right time. Because many times, like you still have to do your play, like for example, moving forward without knowing if you're going to be drawing that gate that will allow you to pretty much just lock the game, or or if you're gonna like which events you're gonna be getting. You saw in here like how key these events are, especially Primal Fury, which is kind of like a key event for this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's usually how they play out, and in general, that's how Tundra Orcs play out, right? Like there, a lot of people don't like them because many times you're really relying on the luck of the roll with all those specials that you need for many of the cards to be effective. So yeah, like this is a pretty typical game. Like this ones were a little bit faster than usual. We kind of like went into an all-in position pretty quick, or
Yeah.
well, in your final game, you found yourself in a really solid position. And what I've noticed in the games that I played in the past for this matchup is that the orcs, Tundra orcs going first is makes a huge difference for them. Like being able to
Mm-hmm.
start the game clearing the units from the opponent, which is not easy. You either need to have a primal fury in hand or get like one of the frenzy rolls, like even like with a frenzy roll, unless you get a 3 out of 3 on the shaman, that doesn't happen. But when it happens, like it pretty much puts the Groaks in a tough spot from turn one, right? Like
Yeah.
so yeah, let's see. Let's take a look at your screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. Re- Real quick, I'm curious. Okay, wait, just let me do this because I can't multitask. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen now. Like I usually like to play. I know Thunder Orcs are like a primal faction and whatever, but I usually don't mind being kind of conservative with them. Like going forward is good with the smashes and whatnot, but like Frost Shamans I consider a very good ranged unit, and turtling with Targan is always an option. So I don't mind like doing at least a like slow and trotting approach to the midfield. Do you think that dynamic like so would you agree that like that's like being more cautious with Tundra Orcs is usually a viable strategy, but that it's specifically against Groaks that you just gotta rush as quickly as you possibly can, or what like where
Yeah,
do you fall on Tundra Orc
that,
strategy?
that is correct. Yeah, exactly. So you're right with everything you mentioned. Like the orcs, like you don't want to play them too aggressive because many times you end up just getting caught and like Grognak's around it and killed. So you have to be like pushing the momentum forward. But with Grog, he has to be in the middle. Like you don't want to get him into a like a tough spot. So but in this specific matchup, if you play them in that traditional way, you'll end up losing the economic game, right? Like the Groves will just be able to be like one-shotting uh, those brutes, and they have, even though they also don't have the best range game, it's going to be better than the one from the orcs. They're going to have the seers supporting on the back. They're going to have time to start building those potions. So I definitely feel that it's a losing proposition trying to just play it conservatively. For example, Targan in this one, like there
Yeah.
could be a situation in which you already try to go in, like you like brought him down to, I don't know, like 5 6, something like that, in which uh Katia won't really be able to be taking that many risks, and maybe then you retreat and play Targan to play the range game. I envision a situation that goes that way, but just trying to play from the beginning like that, I don't think like it would really play out. I haven't seen that work for the orcs in this one because
Yeah.
the Grogs are just like too strong, right? Like it's we've seen it's a faction that is pretty, like some would say, even a little bit overpowered. They have some weaknesses that you can exploit. Like at least there's some matchups that are not that good for them, but they're a little bit busted, especially because of the warrior. Like which other faction can have like a common that can easily hit for 6, right? With no like huge commitment. Not even the champions get to be that powerful, and these guys will be able to be dropping those warriors constantly. So that is why it's hard to just play. And if you give them time, then you start like getting crazy amount of counters and like doing the potions which make them even stronger. So that's why in this one I've had quite a bit like more success with the orcs just pressuring them and being able to just lock them up. Because, for example, let's take a look at the first game. Let's go back to the replay of the first game.
Yeah,
And
sure.
if you see in that game, pretty much like in many turns, we were in a situation in which, like, unless you had this specific thing, the game was over, right? Like when I took that decision at first, they were short games, so we can do a quick analysis on the why of each move, right? So I was going first, and I had the like Primal Fury, right? So it's an obvious decision in there that you want to move Grognak forward because it's easy to end up this way, right? Like the odds are going to be in your favor that you clear up both units and are blocking the front spot, and then on the spot on the left, like they have it's not like Grognak is threatened via two sides because it's not like they're going to bring Hekatia forward into a super exposed position. Like it's unusual. Like they'll usually have to retreat on that
Yeah.
side. Sometimes if you get frenzy, you even like start the game with Hekatia at 10, which is like massive. So
Yeah.
you're really just leaving Grognak exposed on one side. Many times when you start the game like this, moving forward, you want to like you're going to be having a gate on the fourth row. Like that's one of the things that on your game I would say you would have probably like you put it on above that, like on your third row,
Yeah.
but it's
Show
much better
that.
in there. You definitely want to put it on the fourth row because you're gonna be the one trying to establish the pressure and try to keep bringing units that keep clogging gate spots. Right in here, like just choking the gate spots. Sometimes that's the way you win. Like if they don't get their gates,
Yeah.
like they don't really get a fighting chance, right? And you want to be try to like take advantage of that in case that they don't get their gates, or sometimes like people don't discard that much. So if they don't discard, like the gates were not on the first few cards, like sometimes they just lose the game because of that. So I would have definitely gone with like the fourth row in there with the gate because now from that position, as you can see, like any summon that you get can just be going into their summoning spots, and now they have like to start coming at you to try to block those spots. So I've had more success putting it on the fourth row to be able to keep the pressure coming in, because many
What?
times like the
Yeah.
Groaks are just going to be turtling up, right? Because you're going to be coming at them, and if you're not able to keep pushing units forward, then at one point, like with especially with Grognak, like if he's pretty exposed up there, like in the front spot of the main gate, unless you're able to keep units that are able to keep coming in, like you usually have to either retreat or just you lose the game unless you do that.
Let me ask you about this gate really quickly. So the reason I was thinking that this instead of this was I was worried if I put it on the fourth row, you could easily just come in and occupy the forward spot. So like with a Mind Warden or something. Wait, is that what it's called? Yeah, a Mind Warden just comes down
Yeah.
and then you summon another unit. So I was actually thinking that by putting this gate one spot back, by making it so you can't occupy that forward spot, that guarantees that I can summon a unit there, which will give me more pressure. So I guarantee I can send a unit down that line. While if you occupy it, I feel like that would have shut down my pressure a lot. What would you say to that?
So normally, like under the normal matchup, like yeah, you would think that way. But in here, the thing is that if they're already having to send a warden like all the way forward, or in the first turn, like you're not that worried about a warrior like just coming in for 6 because they cannot do it yet. Otherwise, like yeah, you would usually put a front gate with having someone on the front spot to protect them, but it opens them up to be able to kill the warrior easily with like a brute coming in on the left
Yeah.
side,
Or a smasher, you mean?
right? The smasher, yes, yes. So yeah, the smasher coming in on the left side, and then being able to take that warden out pretty easily, which is what you want, right? Like you want to be in a position in which you have your smashers hitting the wardens, hitting the warriors, hitting those type of units. That warden would be in a spot in which they're pretty like away from Hecatia. So like that's how you want them to be, in a spot in which they are have multiple flanks exposed so that they don't get a chance to get the counters out of them.
I see.
So I don't really like mind that much because they won't even be hitting the gate. Like they'll be hitting like your fighter probably or something like that, or they won't really be able to hit Grognite out of that side on that turn. So I don't mind that much because it will allow me to get that momentum going forward. And then once that smasher is on that side, which is the usual play, right? Like you will either have the smasher on your first hand or draw it on the first hand. I usually discard aggressively.
Uh-huh.
So it's likely that you're gonna have it. You're gonna kill the warden. You're gonna kill whatever they bring there, and then they are the ones that have to be keep replacing that unit there. It's hard for them to be able to kill that smasher in that turn because of the position that it's in. So you get like it's devastating when the smasher just keeps getting for 4 multiple turns, and it's
Yeah.
hard to take him out when he's all the way in the edge of the board.
Yeah, I see. So even though we lose a little bit of momentum by you occupying this forward gate, like you just you think that Hecatea just exposing her units like that is going to end up being a losing battle.
Yeah, for them from the economic perspective, like it's gonna be hard for them to try to take those positions because by having to do that, like they will really be, especially at that point in the game in which they don't have gates, like that smasher being able to hit for 4 and not being killed, right? Like at least it's hard for them to be able then to just should like deal lethal damage like the next turn.
Yeah.
So I prefer to have the forward gate because what I've noticed in these matchups, like I think I've encountered this one 7 times
Oh
as
wow.
the me being the orcs. I think I'm 4-3 in that matchup, so it's just shows how hard like the Groaks are. But that's why I felt like yeah, like the Tundra orcs are the ones that I feel like I have the best shot against them. So the key is that the times that I win is because I'm able to just keep the pressure. Like if they
Uh-huh.
stop that initial pressure, it's easy to then just lose. And that's why most of the times that I'm not able to keep the pressure is because I don't have gates far enough forward
Yeah.
to keep that pressure up. And
Gotcha.
that was like in your game, that was kind of like the devastating piece. Like when you were able to not only get in my face and hit me with a fury, but also have like a forward gate. And that was kind of the end at that point, right? Like because whatever I did, like you were just gonna be able to keep getting the smashers in my face and just clog all my movements.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go back to the other one. So it was like really straightforward. Like I think there were barely any decisions in this game, right? Like I had to take that opportunity to take the front spot, right? Like it's not like I could say like, oh no, maybe like it's just devastating. Like in here, many times, especially if you don't have a gate, like you're just on the complete retreat. And if I get a gate afterwards, like it's many times just almost a sealed game. Like
Yeah.
if I manage to get a gate. So I discarded cards. How many did I discard? I discarded like 2 or 3. I started with many smashers in my hand. So that wasn't great because
Mm-hmm.
the smasher is like the key unit for this matchup. I didn't really want to discard any of those.
You
And
held 2 cards that first turn. I'm curious which.
yeah, I'm gonna just check the replay on my end just to tell you exactly. So I discarded the champ, the big champ. What's the name of that guy? The one that you
Ragnar or
played?
Shonk? Shonk?
Yeah, Shunk. So I've tried playing Shunk in these matchups, like when I move forward and just try bringing him, just because of how much health he has, he tends to be like a nuisance for the opponent.
Yeah.
But this matchup is so fast, so decisive, like every single roll, every single hit can be the difference between just finishing, like winning or losing,
Yeah.
that I felt like, you know what? I prefer to not have this guy. Would rather just have a smasher because I had like 3 smashers or 2 smashers in that opening hand.
Yeah.
Than having this guy that sometimes like when he just hits for 1 or 0 or 2, and it's really underwhelming. Like it can be a big difference in the outcome of the game because it's just going to be a few turns. But yeah, my opening hand, I had like Shonk, a Shaman, a Charger, and the Smasher. And
I
I
see.
ended up discarding the Shaman and Shonk because I felt like I rather had the Smasher and then the Charger. I thought that I was going to need him because your obvious play was going to be to retreat with Hecatia, shoot the fighter. And then I wanted to be able to have a unit that was going to be able to block your summoning spot and hit Hecatia,
And
right?
and so you did to my
Exactly.
chagrin.
So
Yeah.
that's what I was playing originally with that play.
Do
But
you see?
then
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you see an
the
argument to discard the smasher as well to draw even faster towards the gate?
Could be, yeah, like that. That could be. But I also thought, you know what? I want the smasher because based on the position that I have right now, I wanted to do that at least the play in which I bring the smasher behind either the charger or the Ogrognak, so that I'm already like putting serious pressure on this side. Like you wouldn't really be able to keep Hecate on this side unless, well, well, you had exactly what you had, like the Swift Potion. Because what I ended up doing is instead of leaving Grognak there and bringing the charger.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like I ended up moving Grognak because I was like, okay, so the way you ended up the turn with the counters, those counters on Hekatia like that, I'm like, well, I'm already at the risk of the warrior coming in and hitting me for 6. So if I do this play of putting Grognak there, because you play the seer, I was
yeah,
like it's not unless you draw the gate, it's game, right? At that point, like you're just pretty much running away, like conceding this side,
yep,
and not barely being able to pull an attack in that turn. Like you're in a really bad spot at that point. So I felt like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it because that way I remove the risk of the warrior. Like on the other side, if you play the warrior, you don't have great targets for it.
yeah.
And if you don't have a gate, I probably just win the game. And
I
even if you
agree.
have a gate, yeah, even if you have a gate, I can keep the pressure because I already brought the smasher here. I have another smasher that I ended up drawing on my second hand. Yeah, I drew. Actually, well, that was my issue. I drew 3 smashers. Let's see. I ended the turn with 1 smasher and the charger, and I drew 2 smashers
Oh
and 4
no.
glory. So it wasn't like a great draw at that point. I was like, oh, okay. Well, maybe a problem. Like if he doesn't have the gate, this is game. And even if he has the gate, I have 4 glory, so I can just like use the smasher on the gate and then just hit Hecate again if you keep her there. And
Yeah,
if you don't, like it means that you're already like running away using your movements just to go all the way to the other side. So it's not a
yeah,
bad position to be in.
yeah,
So that was the thought. But then I like it was the worst of all the worlds that I could have hoped for that point because you had like the gate, the warrior, and the swift potion that allow you to even
yep.
like get on the offensive, right? So yeah, at that point, like when you do, and this is the risk of always like sending rocks so forward in that way. But you saw the logic of what I was going for. Like it's pretty much
No,
if he
absolutely.
doesn't have that, I win, right? Or even if you had it, like it wasn't a big deal because you couldn't hit me with a warrior. Like you needed the combination of the swift potion, the warrior, and even if you had like those but without the gate, then you couldn't really do this play with the Hecatia there because then like Hecate was probably going to be dying. Like when
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
Masher, it's very easy to like for glory to come or whatever. Like it
Yeah,
or brute force or many of those things that allow the 3 hits to come at that point. So at that point, you feel like yeah, I think it's worth the risk. Like it's he would need very specific things for these to really turn out as it turned out. And then what you did was great, right? Because you were able to protect that side from Hecatia, so then you were not at risk of dying the next turn. With those hits with the warrior, like it sent me to 5, which is as good as it gets, right? Like at that point, I
yeah,
cannot stay there, and that was a risk of bringing the smasher in because now he was blocking my own exit. And then after that, the game was decided at that point, right? Like I didn't
yeah.
really have
I,
many
I,
choices.
I'd want to comment there though, but like even this play was dead to so like brute force hands. Like if you had brutal force plus primal fury or brutal force plus a shaman and
The shaman, yeah.
for glory, like I was easily dead. And I considered using a swift potion to go back a space to play around that, but I just decided to to take the risk. Maybe I should have. I'm actually yeah. What do you think you would have done the you think you would have played around that by going back a spot with
No,
the
no, I would have done what you did was a perfect play there because, as you say, like this is the truth of this matchup. Like there are some cards that if I have, you're dead, right?
yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, but at that point, you're saying like, well, I mean, he would need to have those, and I already played one
Yeah,
Fury,
yeah,
so I wouldn't be like even that concerned about that. And then you think like, well, is it only the Fury that gets me? No, he would also need to have like Brutal Force, or he
yeah.
would need to have like. There's at least a few
It,
cards that I need for the kill here, like 3 cards, I believe, that would give me the kill. So
yeah,
it's not that likely. Like I wouldn't be worried about that. It's like when I did this play, like I thought about like the potential set of cards, and I thought like, yeah, okay, he can have a gate. That's likely, right? But then even if he has a gate, I'm in a good spot. Like if he has the warrior, okay, I'm not concerned. He cannot do anything big with the warrior. But then the warrior with the other one, like it's still not an issue, right? Unless you also have the gate to be able to go for that one. But I cannot really be like getting so paranoid about those combinations. Like
Exactly.
you need to
Yeah.
think about what's likely, and it's likely that they're going to have one of those. But then, even with one of those, I was still in a position that I wanted to be. So at this point, I think you really had no choice, right? Like you just had to go for it because it was you had the
Yeah.
perfect set of cards to punish me. Let's see, in there, I mean, even with average rolls, how many did you hit there? You
Um,
or eight
I
of
think.
eight, right? So six. So yeah, you were looking at least at around like seven, six, seven in the worst case scenario, which still puts you close to a position in which like you're one turn away from killing me, right? So I cannot keep that position, especially with a gate. That's gonna take me a turn to kill. So
Yeah.
you couldn't really do anything else with the cards that you had.
Yeah.
And after
Yeah. And
that, that was the game. Like at that
well,
point, the
well,
game
well,
was decided, right?
yeah, and real quick before talking about that, like, yeah, like I considered other plays, and like, and if I didn't have the Swift potion or something, it's just like, what else could I have done? Like, I could have retreated this way, like, put a gate in Grognak's face, like, I don't know, in one of my back rows, and like tried to defend here, but just like any, like, you're just gonna be busting down my gates and place your own gate and have tons of pressure. Like, it just felt like there was no winning play here. And part of that was also this. I feel like I should not. I should have. Like, I didn't anticipate you. I don't know. I didn't feel like you were gonna totally clog my gates this next turn. I didn't anticipate the charger, I guess. But I totally should have. I feel like I shouldn't have put the seer here. I should have left this spot open, because if I do that, then it's much more likely that all I need to do is summon a warrior and move it out or something. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's maybe something I would have done differently. Like, put that to the side, even though then you could have primal furied it. Not sure exactly, but not a fan of that play.
Yeah, it's tough because at that point, like you only had two positions open, right? Like, were you gonna do at that point? Like, let's go back to your turn, your first turn, so turn two. So you only had two spots to summon stuff, right?
Yeah,
And at that point, like the warrior didn't really make a lot of sense, right? He wasn't really gonna be that significant. He wasn't
yeah.
gonna be a big deal. So that's the issue. Like, unless you only summon a single creature, the seer feels like something like, well, I guess. Well, the thing is, you wouldn't even be able to hit anything that turn. I believe that was
The
like maybe you just discarded him to get more magic and dig for
That's
your
true.
because this turn he didn't really do anything. He was just like sitting there and pretty much blocking your way. That is true, and that's why it motivated me to doing the Grognak play because I
Mm-hmm.
felt like, well, that seer now is going to be a
Yeah,
like a hassle for you. And with the charger, like yeah, you can still kill him, but with the Grognak there, like you cannot kill him with the Hecatia, right? Like you have to retreat. Unless you have like all the other things, but
yeah,
normally like you would have to retreat because you cannot just get into a fight with Grognak right there. And the Seer now it's a problem. So now the Seer you're going to be moving him, and he won't even get to do anything because he's
yeah.
just going all the way to the corner or going like in the other space. So
So then what's the point? Yeah,
right, exactly. So at that point, like, yeah, like the seer there wasn't ideal because you didn't really had a use for him yet, and it just clogs your board at that point, and they're
yeah.
already in your face. But it's already a tough position, right? So as you can see, like we were really just pushed into like what we had to do was the best outcome by the cards that we had, and by turn four, I think it was turn four that the game was already decided.
Do you think? Well, and quickly before that, yeah, the seer I did partly because well, I did entirely because like, 4 range dice, there's a decent chance it only gets 2, and so I could boost the seer to 4 to finish off the fighter. But I think you'd probably say that that's not worth it.
No, that's true. Actually, yeah, that's why you did it. I remember now. You play the Mystic too,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, that it makes sense why you played it. Yeah, that's true because then you're able to get it to four to finish off the dude, the fighter,
Yeah. But
the
maybe
fighter.
that.
Yeah. So
But if I do that, then I don't get to hold any boosts on Hecatea, so I can't threaten the warrior next turn. So, um, I don't know.
that's true. You already had the warrior, so that was a suboptimal situation. But I mean, it's at least there's some logic behind being able to have the potential of finishing off the fighter, because in this matchup, it really hurts to leave those one health unit, because for glory, that's the perfect situation for glory, right? Like when they have that one health dude, and then they're going to summon a
Yeah.
shaman behind him, and then just hit you for 8 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
even using Hekatia in this game, in this matchup, you get limited opportunities. Like, well, you actually don't want to have to use her that much, because like
Dangerous.
the counter attacks, really just a few of them, and you're already at the range in which a for glory turn is going to finish you off. So it kind of made sense to at least say like, hey, let's try to finish him off. Like there was some rationale behind that. And then you were in a situation in which you were just hoping to draw the gate so that I couldn't just take over all of that side, or just put my own gates and just shut you off.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're pretty much drawn to whatever you're hoping, like what you can draw. So that's why in this matchup, one of the keys is to draw aggressively, because it's unlikely that it's going to go to econ. And really, just getting that key card in those first like 3-4 turns is just
Mm-hmm.
the difference between like the game just being over fast, or winning
Yeah.
or losing
Yeah.
the game. As you can see, by the end of turn 4, the game was over. I just and if you were missing any of those cards, like the game was also over, but in my favor, probably, right? Like especially if I had like
Absolutely.
the key, or if I had like
Yeah.
any of those pieces, that it's likely that they have one or another. But it's how quick this game sometimes play. Like most of the other games that I played with on this matchup, they haven't been that fast. But they are also usually, like, you can see that it has been defined, like decided by turn 5 or 6, and then you're just trying to finish them off, but you already have them in a tough position. After that, I really didn't really have much of a choice. Like I was like, well, let's just finish up the warrior and see if
Yeah. Do
if
you
I get
think
lucky with the dice or whatever.
if you had a gate, would you have been like I felt like you must have had a I feel like your hand must have been unlucky here not to have a gate or just like some way to defend Grognak better. But would you think even if you had that the fact that you have to retreat, you're saying the game is over, or yeah, or just say more?
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, sometimes that's when the game it was over, because I didn't had like anything else. So in
Yeah,
that turn, when we finished that turn and I went forward, I discarded. I played the charger. I played the smasher. I discarded one of the smashers, and I kept one smasher and for glory.
gotcha.
And that's what I could. Maybe at that point, like one can say hindsight, like, oh, maybe if you discard the other smasher. But the thing is, you don't really know what's coming. I didn't knew that you were gonna do this play, so I thought like, hey, like I'm still like at 13 life, like things are not that bad, whatever. Right? So that was the logic that I followed. And then what I drew was a fighter, a charger, and freeze. Right. So
Mm.
it wasn't like great hand, but
Yeah.
that was like an interesting point. When you did that play, I was like, oh my, I hope he really has another potion, and just says like after hitting me with a fight with the warrior, just uses all the boosts there, right? Because at that point I would have been able to survive by using freeze on the warrior to lock up all of that side of the field. I would have been able to destroy the gate for sure with the two smashers,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would have been able to destroy Hekatia there, right? So at that point, the game would have been probably decided, right? It would have been like two smashers right next to you, this side blocked, and Hekatia at 4 or 5 live.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because and you just leave Grognak there, and then this side is just
Yeah,
locked.
exactly. So I
Fascinating.
attack there, then you're not able to kill me with a counter attack, and the warrior is frozen, so nothing can come out of that side until my next turn. So it would have been really hard for you at that point to survive one more turn, unless even with another gate, maybe. Well, maybe the gate would have bought you enough time. But that's why freeze is still a useless event in this matchup, because of the boosted clause. Like you're not able to freeze
It's
something that
so
is boosted.
unfortunate. So that
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. Like for
it's
example,
the
otherwise, like
worst
it would be a
worst
pretty
thing.
useful card.
Ugh.
Yeah. But sometimes you're gonna find some situations when you're just trying to like use their units against them just to block the field that way, like what we were talking about here. Like every now and then you'll find that situation and you definitely want to use it, but you will never hold it. Like unless you're already in that situation, you will always be discarding freeze.
Yeah. That's so funny. I don't know how close I I didn't realize how close I was to death there, because if I had had a potion in hand, I would have used it on that warrior. I just didn't have another one. I absolutely would have.
Yeah, many people will forget about freeze, right? Like you're not really thinking about it or thinking about the
Yeah.
fact of the freezes. So that's why you want to leave at least one boost on those. Like that's what I did on my attack when I
Oh,
just went
that's why
full
you
A just
did
to attack.
that. I noticed that. Yes.
Yeah, just in case you had the freeze, just to do that. And then I was just
Funny.
hoping I would draw something. But and let's look at this game. Like this one was, I think, the same thing. By turn 4, it was pretty much decided. So you also had like a good first turn in which you cleared my board and were already pressuring there. Let's see what was my.
Easiest 3 for 3 of my life on that shaman. And then you
Yeah.
respond, Seer and the
So
Warrior.
what I had there, I had a Warden, and I had to use it. Like I don't really like love having to use Hecate in this matchup because they can punish you so hard in so many ways. But I felt like, well, I mean, when you're starting like that with no units, it's not like you have much of a choice really. Like you have to start attacking and trying to slow them down at least. So
Yeah.
my opening hand was the Warden, 2 Seers, the Strong Potion, and at least I had a gate. That kind of like at
Mm-hmm.
least allowed me, because it's a key in this matchup for the Groaks to have gates, because that's the way you stop Grognak from getting in too deep and putting it too
Uh-huh.
much pressure,
Uh-huh.
right? Like
Yeah.
once you have a gate there, you're not able to just like keep sending Grognak without risking some serious damage on him. So yeah, I had the Warden and the Seer, like my creatures that I had to play, and I played it in such a way to at least try to like kill the fighter so that he was not within range of Hecatia. And that's why, like the seer on the back, I was going to be adding the boost and then just try to finish him off, right? Like my rolls were pretty poor there. Like I didn't even get the 3 out of 4 on that guy. So by the end of that turn, like I was thinking, if he has 4 glory, like this game is done, right? Because what you would have done is hit, well, the Warden was there actually. So at least that would have avoided all hits on Hecatia, but you were able to finish off the Warden with the fighter, killing that guy, the shaman to this guy. Like whenever you leave them at 1 life, that's the perfect opportunity for them to use the for glory
Yeah.
that they were
Yeah.
holding in their hand for a good shot, right? Like that's the how you want to use them.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
yeah, so that was my initial hand. At least the gate, I think, gave me a little bit of time. But then you also had some good things there with Fury, which is a great.
Yeah. I feel like I had a very good turn here, being able to get Shonk and the Fury down.
And
Felt happy
you
with
had
that.
another gate there. So what did you discard in your first turn? Let's take a look at that those decisions. So for first turn, you'll have to just yeah, let's see the
I discarded these, and I held this Frost Shaman.
perfect. Yeah, so that's usually what you will want to do. Like the fighter, unless you're already within distance, like you're pretty close by, many times you want to discard him just because of the gate thing we were talking about. You want to get as many gates. You want to get the smashers, like those are the ones that you care the most about. The shaman is your only range unit, so many times I also keep him because it's what allows you to attack Hecatia. Like they usually retreat and attack you or something like that. So that
Yeah.
attack the fighter that is usually in that position. So you want to have a shaman to at least every time you get a chance to hit Hecatia, usually you're going to take it because once you bring her to 8, around 8, they are within the range of like a quick kill with for Fury, the Brutal Force, the 2 like for Glory, 2 attacks, that type of thing.
Uh-huh.
And it really limits them. So yeah, it was a key. The freeze, it's an easy discard. You kept the shaman, and then let's see, you
I
drew.
I will note about this shaman. I think I continued to hold this shaman for the rest of the game until I finally discarded it. Like once we were like neck and neck. So I did
Yeah.
end up. I held it because it was like, oh, this like I just want to have a big unit that I could just like send down this lane and not mind if you attack it with like a seer or something. But I did end up not playing this, so maybe I should have just discarded it too. Who knows?
It's a
Uh,
good keep because in the usual game, like they won't, not all of them are as fast as this one was.
yeah.
And there's a lot more exchange going back and forth. So it was a good keep, especially like you were ending the turn with one card in hand. So it's great. Like you're drawing four. That's a good amount of draws when you're digging for something.
Yeah.
And you already had seven magic.
Digging.
So I would have also like kept that one. There was no need to get so like discard everything type of scenario. And then like the Fury was the good thing you got there. Shunk, I mean, he's useful just because he's a nuisance for them, especially when you go first. That's a massive difference. Like this start that you had in here, Shunk is great, but when they start and they clean on some of your units and they start positioning everything up, like it's a massive difference on how
Yeah.
Shunk
Yeah.
performs in those situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see. By turn three, you played Shank, and yeah, so this was amazing because it allowed you to, with a Fury, you clear that Warden. You were able to just be putting pressure, taking the front spot, which many times like it's not ideal when you get the second hit just to a gate. Like it's devastating when you like kill a unit and then kill another unit. But just because of the pressure and the positioning, like this was solid, right? Like in here, because you went first and I was already choking, this made a big difference. And the one thing that was also like defining the game, and this is how funny like this matchups with the orcs sometimes like the smallest things make the like a huge difference. Getting that frenzy and sending that gate to three is what allowed you afterwards to have that play with Grognak, in which you were able to just like charge forward, right? Because you removed the threat of getting surrounded by the gate that I had there.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about it. Like I ended up thinking about this long and hard because obviously when you expose your summoner on a side, it's like you get worried about it. But without Hecatea having any boosts, like this position just seemed better. And taking the gate to three, now it's suddenly in risk of getting one shot by Grognak, which happened to be very relevant.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Like it would have been a completely different game. Like you wouldn't have been able to just
Uh-huh.
charge
Yeah.
Grognak that way
Yeah.
because you would have been exposing him on three flanks, right? And that's how you get killed immediately with Grognak. So like that thing was game defining. Like this is what turned the game completely. And then what I had at that point, like my hand, I was pretty much dead. Let's see. I think I ended the last turn that I had discarding everything in my hand. So I discarded the seer and the strong potion that I had at the end.
On this, sorry, on turn four, you discarded it.
No, on my turn before you did
I see. I
this,
see.
yeah, I
Discarded Seer and Strong Potion. Makes sense.
let's see. I think I ended up the turn, yeah, with nothing. So I ended up with 0 cards in hand. Um, so and then the 5 that I got, when I saw those, I was like, yeah, I think this game is over.
Oh
So I
no.
got Eldarath, like the champion that I wasn't even gonna be able to play because I only had 2.
Yeah.
The fact that I didn't kill any of your units meant that I only had the 2 magic from the 2 cards that I discarded. So then I got like the gate, which I felt like, well, at least now like that chunk, I can try to like avoid my warden getting killed in a single turn, because I summoned the warden to stop Shunk on that side. But I thought if I don't put the gate on that side, like Shunk is gonna surround the warden, and then Grognak can just come here and just like kill the warden and just plan like a whatever, right? But
Yeah.
pretty much just take over that side completely. So yeah, that's why I summoned the Warden there. I didn't really had many options there. Like I could summon it to go and hit the Shaman on the back, but then if I do that, then I'm just feeding your Smashers, right? It's very likely that the Orcs are gonna, and the Orcs just want those type of targets, so it was gonna be like an easy choice there just to kill that guy. And then I drew Wither Potion and Poison Potion.
Oh no.
Right, so
With
it
two
was really just
magic.
the
Yeah.
Warden. Yeah, like the Warden was my only thing I could play. Then the 2 potions that I can do, the Champ that I'll have to discard. So that was a pretty like slow turn there. I knew I had to start retreating a little bit with Hekatia. I couldn't just let her just be hit for too much. So I felt like, well, the Seer at least can just be like slow down Grognak. He'll finish off the Shaman. I really need the magic and finish them off. I
Uh-huh.
felt like that's the best I can do at that point. But I was really worried about like that gate at 3 there, like because I didn't really had another gate. But I felt like well, maybe I can keep the gate, but not sure, like, wasn't sure if you were gonna risk Grognat all the way to that side.
Yeah.
So I just went with that move. And I think at that point the game was decided. Like once you had the other, like that hand that you had, like with the Fury, which made it easy for you to just try to like do that play, especially with the gate, right? Because with a gate now you're able to plant a gate around that area to be able to keep bringing units to support that offensive. I think at that point the game was over. Like which
That's
was again like turn 5, right? 4 or 5. The
that's
turns were.
yeah, that's funny that you say that. And yeah, we can go through that hand in a second. But like it's because like looking at the board state from here, like this looks rough for Hecatea, but I would not. So if this is at the start of turn 4, like and you had a really bad hand, but not knowing that, like it feels like this Hecatea could still swing this around. Like I've had a lot of games I've played with Hecatea, the dynamic ends up being the opponent is in my face and you try to keep them back for as long as possible until you have your engine going, until you have your seers and enough boosts for warriors to be threatening. So I've had a lot of games that like as Hecatea where I've been backed against a wall, but then I've been able to come back. So I would still be worried that just like a couple gates in my face here and there, and suddenly you could be back in this game. Is that what would you say that's true as well, and that's just not what happened,
Yeah.
or yeah?
Uh, yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was over because of what I had in my hand and what you had in your hand, right? Like,
I see.
if
Yeah.
you didn't have this and I had like the other thing that would allow me to come back, like the game could have kept going for a few turns. So on the board, like it's not like decided on the board, but once you see your hand on my hand, that's when you know, like, yeah, the game is over. Like afterwards, I thought like, well, maybe could it have been better for me to just do my second row for that gate on that side?
So
But the
here,
thing is, like
or
before I was placing that one,
oh, I see.
I mean, I was assuming that fighter that was going to be dead because I was going to be attacking him with 4. So the assumption was that that gate was in a safe spot, right? Not that a fighter was going to survive 3 out of 4 and then get a frenzy and reach the gate. Like you usually don't play assuming like the very unlikely, right? Those scenarios. So that's why I put it there just to be more of a threat for Grognak so that you
Yeah.
wouldn't like
No,
want to be
I
coming in so
I agree
fast.
with I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, right. Like on this board, like when you decide that gate, it kind of like feels that it makes sense. Like, of course, I was placing there thinking that it's outside of the range of a smasher. That's always what you want to be thinking, that the smasher, because those are the also great targets for the smasher. They come in, sometimes just destroy them in a single hit when it's a 4 glory turn. So I was putting it there, and also that would give me a little bit more space on that side of the field. But at the end, like that could have made a difference in this specific game with how things went. But yeah, like that's how fast. And this were definitely faster. Like all the other games that I played, they were decided around turn 7, 8. Some of them went into like turn 10, 11. These
Uh-huh.
were definitely the fastest that I have played on this matchup.
That's funny. I'm curious to look at this turn 5 if you would have done anything differently, and I'll talk about it for a second here because I debated for a while like what goes where, like does like should Grognak be like primal furying the seer and occupying the gate or something? Because what I'm really afraid of is that I'm Grognak. It's just going to be a repeat of the last game where I go forward, it's a good position, I get trapped, and I get killed by a warrior. Um, and so what I ended up going with was like, oh, I could primal fury to kill this gate. Um, and so this is what I did, but I actually think if you had had a gate in hand, I think I lose this game. If you had had a gate in hand, so like just and to tell me if I'm wrong here, but if you just do this play, except you have a gate to defend Hecatea, and granted that is your third gate that you have to have drawn by now. If you just have that gate, like I can't kill Hecatea, Grognak really can't retreat. I, I mean, maybe Grognak retreats safely, but at the very least, like I have to retreat, which is really bad for me, and I probably die.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's a great point. Like the game would have played exactly the same way that the other one played out. Like at that point, you wouldn't have been able to kill Hecatea. You would have already been like kind of trapped because the Smasher, the gate, like it would have been hard for you to escape that position. And I had the other warrior in your hand. I had been discarding, like finishing all turns without like cards, so it was likely that I was gonna have more warriors, and that's what would have probably happened. So I guess the lesson from these games would be not as the Groaks, and especially when you don't go first, is not use your gates like too soon, right? Like the second gate that I play it there like a little bit unnecessarily, right? Like
You
I
think
could have
you
just
could have
kept
held
that
it?
gate. I could have
Or
held it for this specific situation, and that could have been a completely different game. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Interesting, interesting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
at that point, I didn't thought about like Grognak. Maybe I should have like just slowed down a little bit more, like coming in and just destroying my gate and ruining everything on for me on that end.
Uh-huh.
But if you see the board at because I think I did it when the gate was already at 3, so yeah, I would say that was actually a mistake.
Hmm.
There's
Do
definitely
you
the
think you would have
potential
held it in
for
hand or played it
I
behind
should have
the?
held it in hand for sure. Yeah, because my gate, like if my gate was at 5, maybe no, or not, right? Because like the gate is already preventing Grognak from even trying it. It's unlikely that they're well, it's harder for them to take the risk, I guess. But
Oh,
even like that, maybe like on the other end, it wasn't really gonna benefit that much. It was just gonna try to slow you down. I thought at that point that the game was gonna shift with you going to that side, to the left side, to because you were able to quickly clog up my gate and be in a safer spot. Like I don't know. At that point, I think that was kind of like what I was envisioning, that that gate there was gonna prevent you from risking it. But the fact is that that gate being at 3 makes it
yeah.
easy for Grogna to take out. And you know what I was hoping there is that okay, he's gonna destroy the gate, but I'm gonna be able to just bring a warrior in front, hit for 6, then play the potion, and then actually two warriors I was gonna bring out. But when you play the second fury, I knew like the game is over because
Mm,
now you were like blocking that spot, and my only way to attack you was with Hecatia, like keeping her there or something like that.
yeah.
And you know what really filled it was hilarious, like the fact that you didn't kill the seer with
I
the smash.
know. It was. I almost wonder if I
And
shouldn't
you
have even
noticed, I was
tried
like,
to
no,
attack
I
it.
hope he tries to kill it. And you realize, like, hey, that seer is actually much better there.
Yeah.
So that was hilarious, man. Like when I saw, I was like, this is not possible because I was great. Like I wanted that seer to die just to buy some time and then bring the warriors out, which I had finally drawn, and I
Yeah.
had the boost ready for them. So I thought I'm gonna bring two warriors out. One goes to hit Grog, the other comes from the back to hit the Smasher for 6, guarantee the kill there, and then I take all the counters for the strong potion that I had in hand. And then I kind of like have Hecate in a safe spot. Like I'm able to defend it a little bit more, but everything aligned so that I had really didn't had a chance. Like
Would
the
Hecate
seer
have
there
been
was
in the
useless.
corner that turn, or how would you have done that?
For the well, that was before I saw you had the Fury. So
Oh, I see. I
without the
see.
Fury,
Yeah, yeah.
I was able to summon one from the side, go in front of Grognak, which would be in front of Egatia, and then bring one from the
I
back in
see.
front
I
of the
see.
Smasher, and then hit the Smasher for 6, because I wanted to prioritize getting rid of the Smasher at that point. Well, at that moment when I was thinking that, and just so that it's not trivial for you to just kill those over and over like my warriors.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that was the play. But yeah, like when you play the Fury, the second Fury, it closed the gate for that play. Then the fact that the series survived even closed the possibility of me using like a warrior to kill the Smasher. Right? Like at that point, because the seer couldn't move, like Ragnar was already blocking that side.
Yeah.
So it was hilarious. Like everything just aligned in such a way that I knew, like at that point, the game was done. Like I thought, I mean, I can try to prolong this if I try to escape here and do this or that, but it
Yeah.
just felt like it was useless to try to even do
Yeah.
that at that point. So
Yeah.
I felt like, yeah, let's just go for it. Just I don't know, let's see what happened. But it didn't seem like I had much of a chance because you could just then move Grognak. I thought like, well, if he doesn't have the for glory, it's maybe 8 out of 8. Maybe I get lucky, end up in 1, and
Yeah.
like if I get this potion, not even with a potion, because you were able just to take again that spot. Like at that point, it was It was really sealed. I had no space to even try to hit Grognak again for two. Maybe. Well, you know what? Yeah, I think I did have a shot there. If you didn't hat for glory, you needed the 8 out of 8, right? So
Yeah.
I have a shot, right? Like even though like the smasher is likely to hit for 4, the other guy I just need him to miss 1, and I'm good, right? I have a shot, and I was gonna be throwing 14 dice at you, so my rolls were in there like pretty poor. Like I was not one shot away, but if I get like rolls to be get you at 4, 5, or something like that, technically I have a shot of doing like a one shot kill with the last one. Let's see, with 14, I think it's not like super unlikely to bring him down to like 3 or something like that, 4, right? Because most of them were melee. So I guess that was the logic of what I was at the end just saying, like my last kind of like Hail Mary play.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. The 14 dice coming from what do you mean?
In that last attack, I was throwing 14 dice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
so it was 6 from the warrior, 3
Plus
from the
5 plus
seer, and
3.
5
Yeah.
from 5 from Hekatia. So yeah, like my goal there was to get you low enough to be for a single hit kill
Yeah.
type of situation. So for example, I had like the odds on my favor were for 11 damage,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
60%, 11 damage. So at 3 life, like I just need to survive 1 turn, which means like survive the 8 out of 8 to then be able to get like 3 out of 5, which is not like a hard thing to do. It's still on my favor, in my favor. So that was the logic at the end, kind of like the all in type of land. Let's just see what happens, because I felt that that had better odds than trying to escape and not even be able to summon units because you're in my face and all that stuff. That's why I went with that play.
Yeah. A few things I'd want to draw attention to here are I wasn't sure if the for glory was right here, which is so it's interesting that you say that it totally screwed with you here. Let me see if I let me just go to a
The
state before
Fury.
before I had played, yes, or sorry, the fury. So if I hadn't played the fury and I had killed the seer, which I was trying to do, it was probably going to be killed. You said you would just respond to two with two warriors, which yeah, that'd probably be pretty rough to just like one shot the smasher and hit Grognak and whatnot. But I was worried about by playing the Fury, like Grognak is now exposed to if you have the gate to put behind me, there's a good chance I'm just dead. um, and
That's true.
and so I honestly not sure which plays better. I don't
Well,
really know.
and that's the thing. Like, there's no. That's the interesting thing of this matchup, so that there's no better play because, like, if I had the gate, yeah, you would say like, yeah, that wasn't a good play. I exposed myself. But if I didn't have the gate, you win the game. Right, so like
Yeah,
the right play depends on what the opponent has, so you really have to think what are the chances of that in this
yeah,
case. Because you had already seen 2 gates, I would say like, yeah, that was definitely like the way to go. Maybe if I had 0 gates, like I had played 0 gates, that would have been too risky. Like doing
yeah,
that wouldn't have been a good idea, right? So you have to think of the odds, but most of the time those odds really come down to like a 50-50, 60-40 type of situation.
yeah,
And depending on where you are at, you have to think like, hey, do I just want to like, do I feel like if the game goes into like a long game, the odds are in my favor? Do I think that it's like a 50-50? Do I want to take it? And yeah, so it just boils down to that. But that's true. Like if I had the gate, that play just loses the game for you. Without the gate, and killing the like if you did, but the thing is, if you didn't play the Fury and kill the Seer, which was the most likely outcome of your attack, like traditionally, like you would get the 3 out of 4 on that attack,
yeah,
then the game would have probably just gone into the usual like back and forth exchange, trying to push. You were in a good spot because you had the gate there. So even if my like warrior would have guaranteed kill the smasher and then the other warrior would have hit you for 4, so best case scenario, I have you on 10, you still have ways of keeping the pressure. But the thing there is that Grognak, sometimes it's risky when you have Grognak there in a position that he cannot escape easily.
yeah.
Because, like, what are you going to do there? Like, are you going to attack with Grognak, the warrior? like getting the 4 out of 4, it's a coin toss, right? It's actually the odds are against you. It's like 40 something percent. And you cannot just be swinging against a warrior. Then the warrior next turn is going to hit you for 6, 7, and then you're losing.
Yeah.
So you always want to be sure to have like an escape path to send Grognak back.
Yep.
Once you
And I
planted those
sure
gates,
don't.
yeah, and that's the risk of those plays. Like in there, but at least in there, well, no, that's actually pretty. It's a rough position. Yeah, like you would have been able to bring like a smasher on the right side to hit the warrior there, send Grognak back.
And
Right
I
at
would
that
still
point,
have
you would.
Primal Fury in hand. Maybe I'm not sure how that would work out, but maybe I could use that.
Well, that one is yeah, maybe to cut off the now because with 2 warriors, it's too risky playing Primal Fury on a warrior. Like unless you get
Yeah,
the 4 out of 4,
that's true.
you
That's
almost
true.
lose that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Unless, well, I guess you could have, like, maybe you don't have the smasher and you have a fighter. You send the fighter on top there to hit for 2, and then you use the fury. Well, yeah, you hit with a fighter, then you use fury to finish off the warrior, and then you move and like hit
mm-hmm.
the other warrior. But the thing
Yes,
is,
that's a fighter. And
if you don't kill the other warrior, then he hits you back for 6 or 7.
yeah,
So that's why even in that position, like just having Grotnak there is really a liability because of the warriors, right? Like those warriors are just devastating. Like you can really just take a single 6, 7 hit before you're already like just escaping. And the Grognak is not an asset anymore. It's not a threat because
yeah,
like he's just ready
yeah,
to be killed. So this game is super sensitive to those like small positioning things. But you would have been able at least like I guess what I would have done in that situation if the with the 2 warriors in front is bring a unit on the right side like to hit that one, bring something on the other end to hit the other one, and just retreat with Grognak to the back where you summon the unit out of, and just like keep the pressure from there. You already have the gate there. They'll have to keep bringing them up. Like and Hikatia is not in the best spot to
yeah.
defend that. So
Which way did you see? Does Grognak retreats to the right
to
or
the
the
right, yeah,
left?
because
I see.
if you do it to the left, the warrior that was up there is gonna get you. Right. And if you move the
Yeah,
charger, like then they have you open up that summon spot. So I would have probably preferred to go back there.
and then
Like
I can
bring the
occupy
unit
these
that you
spots.
summoned there.
Yeah,
No, actually, I was thinking. Oh, yeah, exactly. So that one there, yeah. And like, if you have a smasher, like with the Grognak allowing you to re-roll, it really improves your chances of like bringing down the warrior, which is your priority there. Like, just try to bring them down.
yeah,
So something like that, just to get Grognak out of that spot. Like, you want them to have to use their warriors to finish up your units until they run out of warriors. It's not like they have like that many.
yeah.
Like, they have a manageable amount. So.
I, I'm curious to talk about. Well, this is another discussion, but like you've said now that you think the Warriors are really pushing Hecate over the edge in terms of power level. It seems like one big weakness there is there's only 4 of them, and granted that is like other like Grognak can attack for 6 with a Smasher plus a 4 glory, but there's only 2 for glories. Well, Warriors four is quite a bit of this big burst damage thing to have, but lots of factions have some big burst damage tool. I'm curious what you think it's just that the fact that your burst damage tool being a common means it's a lot easier to get, or like what do you think? What in your opinion is pushing warriors over the edge as it terms to other
Yeah,
factions?
it's that because I mean they have 4 of them, so that's a lot, right? Like they'll usually
Okay,
try to
yeah,
play at least 3. Like 3, you're going to be seeing 3. Many times you'll see the 4, and the fact that it's really easy to get them to that like 6. Like you just need 3 extra counters, which you will always have. It's super easy to have, so
yeah.
it's not like a struggle to get them to hit for that. And then you don't even lose the counters. Like because you
Yes,
have the potions. Like it's really easy to combo that off with a potion that just takes all those counters. So even if they manage to kill them, you didn't lose all those counters. You're already getting value out of them. So being able to hit for 6, it just feels over the board a little bit. Like think about it. Like there isn't any other unit, any common unit that is even close. I mean, the closest is for 4, and that's the one from the Crimson Order that using like with 1 life as a cost and hits for 4, but hitting for 6, like barely even champions get close to that. So most of the games against the Groaks really revolve around just being out of range of the warrior. Like the ones that need to be aggro, like Tundra Orcs, are always thinking about that with Grognak, with the positioning, like putting in a position that the warrior cannot hit you, that you have some common unit in front so that the warrior cannot hit Grognak. Like the game positioning most of the time revolves around that. And you cannot really play champions against the Groaks. Most of the time, it never feels worth it because if it's within the range of a gate, you're always risking the like your champion just getting
Mm-hmm.
killed in a single turn very easily with a very low commitment from them, right? Because we're saying like all they do is play a two magic common, three boost is not a big thing to get on them, and then they even use the boost afterwards, or even if they don't, like sometimes it's not such a big deal, right? Like if they're hitting your summoner for 6, they don't care if they lose those boosts afterward. Like it's going to give them the game.
Yeah. Yeah, Fazmanet mentions undead warriors, and yeah, there's lots of other cards or combos of cards that can get that can get a card to or a common to 6 attack, and when there's champions and summoners that can get to 6 attack and more. But I think that yeah, the point you're making is how easy it is. That like
Yeah, that,
something like a Fallen Kingdom combo is multiple cards, and even for Gory is at least 2 cards. With the for Gory and
yeah.
the unit, well 4 common units. All you do is play the common unit. I think that's fair. I think it's only like because there are 4 of them. Like you can really only do it 4 times in a game. So I could still see that being balanced or only slightly over the curve. But I definitely see what you're saying.
And well, that's 4 times if they don't kill them. The fact that they
That's
have 4
true.
health makes it easy, makes it hard actually to kill in a single turn. You know, you at least need 2 attacks on them, so that many times means that you need 2 flanks on them, like being able to reach them on 2 flanks, and then get the 4, which doesn't always happen. So that's a thing. Like the fact that if they had 3 strength, I guess it would be 3 life. Sorry, 3 life. Maybe like it would be not such a big deal because it's easy to at least kill them wherever they come down. But sometimes they're able to survive. And yeah, I think the undead warriors, that's the only other common that I can think of that gets to that level. But it's not easy, right? Many times you rely on a blood summons combo type of thing to get so high. It
Yeah.
takes many
Or
turns unless you're doing the combo, which you would only be able to pull out once or twice,
yeah.
and that's it. All the other ones
Or
rely on events. Like for glory, you're really risking your 3 magic unit. Like you're gonna hit for 6, but maybe you lose your 3 magic investment. So it all carries bigger risks, and it's only 2 events compared to the 4 common units with little investment.
what about
Because
like
I mean, I would be surprised if someone tells me that 3 boost is hard to get in this deck. With the Wardens generating like a massive amount, like it's
yeah.
not hard to generate 3. Like sometimes it's hard to get 5 to get a potion to its maximum, but getting 3 it's super easy, especially because many times like you can still attack with Hekatia, get the extra boost, and then you just move things after that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. I'm just like I'm beating this point into the death, but like what royal warriors like plus like a sacral priest, pretty easy to get those hitting for 5, and then you also have an event that can get those to 6. What would you say with Daymar that is Daymar's like biggest strength is that Daymar is also able to hit for high amounts, but then Daymar has other weaknesses being like the lack of movement, or how would you address that? That's it that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what you said, right? Like they need multiple pieces, they're able to get that high, and that's the strength of the deck. Like that deck really revolves around the Royal Warrior. Like all the other guys are just support units, but yeah, it's extremely strong, and that's what like allows the deck to be a threat.
Gotcha. Well, it's interesting, and yeah,
But
we haven't.
even that, like you have, like I think there's a bigger cost in getting all that to happen compared to the cost on the wars. Like the other guy is also pretty strong, but yeah, I think the warrior, like even if it was a single like damage, like if it was 5 the maximum that they could do, I wouldn't think like it's so busted. But the fact that it's remember 6, and many times you're able to hit for 7 because the strong potion, the fact that it's selective, that it allows you to select when to use it, it means that you can just be hanging around with the potions for a while. So yeah, 6-7 pretty much. Like you have the Royal Warrior, it's 4, 5, 6 maximum. This guy is 6-7, and the Warrior, it's like when you rely on the event that you sacrifice one, that's also a thing that happens not that often, right? Applause the priest. So most of the time, I think like 80% of the attacks of the Warriors are probably 4-4.
Yeah. I have one more question for you about Groaks in general, just because we haven't got to talk about them yet, and then and then maybe we could move to wrap things up. I'm curious, and I still consider myself new to Groaks and new to the strategies, and everything could change as I learn more. But I'm curious, do you think that the only way to beat Hecatea is to rush her down for any given faction? Like,
Oh
do
no.
yeah, sorry, say that
No,
again.
no, it's not the only way. No, it's actually the way that it's only what you do when you really are not able to exploit their true weakness. So, for example, Grognak has to do that because they have the tools to like rush someone down and put a lot of pressure and just do what we saw like in this games, how they get in your face and deal a ton of damage. But like what plays down to the big weakness, like the real weakness of Hecatea is the range, right? The fact that they only have a single a unit that is a range unit that is like dies easily. It only has 2 health, so it's easy. They get one attack most of the time. It dies the next turn. So that's the true weakness. So the factions that are able to exploit that are the ones that the few that have a favorable matchup, the ones that are able to just play the range game and play like the reach, something like the sand goblins that have tools like, yeah, like I shoot you and then I retreat one, or I like shoot with this unit and then just disappear into the gate.
Yeah.
Things like that are the ones that really hurt the Groaks. But there are really few decks that are able to exploit that. I believe the Shadow Elves are probably another one that could give them trouble because they don't really need to rush you. They're able to be like hitting you around the midfield and then just making the units disappear. So, like, not even leave targets for the Seers and things like that. So, I believe those also have a good matchup. But that's a true weakness of this guys. Like, once you get rid of the Mystics, they don't have anything. Like their only way to get outside of the range, they do have the Swift potion. That's kind of like still the threat that makes it not that easy. Like it's not trivial, right? But that's when things get tough for them. And another one is related to that. Really, is sometimes in those matchups you prioritize the gates, not the main gate, but the other gates they're going to be putting in, because without those, like if it's really hard for them to get their units to hit you before they have just to walk without hitting anything and getting killed. So that's the true weakness of these guys. Like it is true that some aggressive decks, but very few of them really. I think the Orcs might be one of the only ones that I believe the Forge. It also has a good matchup against them because they can just really go all in forward and clog the gate spots, destroy the gates.
Wow.
But that only a few decks can really do that. All the other ones, they're pretty much like screwed. Like they can, because few can also play that ranged game well enough, I guess.
And Massimo takes the words out of my mouth, saying Seer is kind of ranged though, and I would agree with that. Seer seems to me like the best ranged unit that any deck could ever possibly have, um, and that it feels like that could Seers could win the ranged game against anybody. What how, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it is true when you are doing the traditional range game in which you have to get a unit like that attacks for that, right? But like what I'm thinking is decks like the Sand Goblins or the Shadow Elves that I mentioned that are able to attack and then just make the targets disappear. That's kind of like what can get them in trouble. But yeah, the Seers are kind of like the other option that you have there, and that's where there are a few decks really that are able to handle that properly. Like you need events like things like Oblige or something like that to deal with
Yeah,
those Seers. When they have like a couple Seers on the back with 5 boosts, it's really hard to deal with those. So at that point, sometimes if you have decent champs that are range, like you can put them on that side of the board. But the choice that you have there really is try to avoid that side. Like when you're playing that range game of having everything on the back and just not giving them targets and just forcing them to just take inactivity damage. So I played some of those in which we've tested the range game, and yeah, like the Groaks suffer that. And one example of that was the Sand Goblins. It might be one of their worst matchups. Like it's the first matchup in which I didn't feel like the Groaks had the edge. Like it was the opposite. Like you can feel that they're pretty weak because the Goblins have all the tools to deal with those things. Like the Seers, oh, you have a Seer, they have ways of just launching a unit like with Burn Hot or with a flying unit
Yeah.
to get rid of the Seers that they were loaded up, and then you don't care if they destroy that unit afterwards, or you just detonate it. And you're able to remove targets. You're able to move a lot with burst with vent. So it might be maybe their worst matchup. But yeah, the
Interesting.
the fact is that very few factions even have those type of tools to deal with that,
Yeah.
and they're definitely one of the strongest ones. I'm sure like we'll be seeing the Groaks among the top tier factions that everyone is playing in tournaments, like the players that reach the final group. There will be seeing those for sure. Yeah, but those are the only
Interesting.
weaknesses that I've
I,
seen for them really.
yeah. So you say in terms of like range factions that can compete, we say you say sand goblins, you say shadow elves. Breakers is something that comes up as like a ranged faction that you feel like should be able to outrange everybody. But
Yeah,
I'm
I
finding
played that one a
Sears.
few times. I
I
played that one a few times, and it's not a good matchup for the Breakers. Like the
that's what I
Poison
found as
Potion,
well.
yeah, Poison Potion just devastates you. The Seers devastate you. It's really hard to like handle those Seers because
Yeah,
they
the
have
Seers seem so
three
good
life.
because the Seers can just hit through a Deceiver. Like you have a Deceiver covering a Mind Witch, and oh, that Mind Witch is still dead. It feels
Exactly.
like an uphill battle the entire time.
And the Seer having 3 life is it's also huge. I mean, that one
Mhm,
also I
mhm.
think some people haven't really liked it that much. Like they think it's a little bit busted. At least those ones like making them the 5 boost, and you have to keep it if unless like it's just completely irrelevant afterwards. I don't think the ability is that busted because it takes a little bit more work to get them to that. And the fact that you're not able to just like if you then take those boosts for a potion, then that series is useless. Like the series is like it will take a while to get them back to 5, right?
Yeah,
So at
yeah,
least with those, you have to commit those 5 boosts if they're going to be a threat. But I do think that the fact that they have also 3 life for that ability because it allows them to survive even if you reach them, like if you and many times you have to sacrifice resources to be able to reach a seer, and even when you reach them many times they survive because they have 3 health. So I would say that they would be more like healthy balance unit at 2 life, just so that like people are going to keep them on the back, but if you manage to get all the way to the back and reach them, that it's more likely that you're going to be killing them than not. And right now it's easy for them to survive those
yeah,
situations.
yeah. That take makes sense. And again, I'm sort of the sort of person that like I need like 6 to 12 months before I'm willing to say anything definitive about balance. But I'm always happy to hear other takes. Yeah, I could see the take of the seer being like as a 2/2 making more sense. I could also see like easy changes to the warrior being like it comes in with 2 boosts. I feel like if it came in with one, it's now at least harder to get it up there or something.
Exactly. I agree. That will fix it. Like I think if it comes with one, like still having a ceiling of 6, but you need to get 4 on it, that changes the things completely. Like it would be much better at that point. Either that or making it like the health to 3. But as it is, I think it's a little bit just too strong. It just makes the deck like most of the matches are favorable for the Groaks, right? And we'll see them like a lot. That's my guess. Like we'll just be seeing them over and over and over in tournaments. But with those small changes that we mentioned, like those tiny things, like just one less boost, like this year one less life, they would still be a good faction. But I think they wouldn't be as busted. In which um, it's just like really hard to beat them, and most of the matches like even if you beat them you feel like yeah like I'm struggling and they have a big advantage. Like for example against the Groaks, My record against them is 32-12. Right, so I'm still winning more than I'm losing against them. But even when I'm winning, I feel like, yeah, I mean, I'm struggling. I'm like
Yeah,
barely making it. I'm having to do things, and many of the wins could be because the opponent didn't play something optimally. But if I think that if I'm playing against players playing it perfectly, like I wouldn't be winning more matches if I'm just playing like a random set of factions. Like I would just be losing most of them because
interesting,
they're
interesting.
definitely stronger than most of everything you see out there.
Interesting. Well, you make good points. I hope that you're wrong, because I like the game to stay balanced, and it's my opinion that the way that I do the tiers, I think like I want everything in A tier. I don't want anything. S tier is the too strong. And there's not that many factions in there. Like I still consider like Abua and Cloaks and like maybe High Elves in there. But not too many for me. I'm hoping Hecate in a bit where we all discover the secrets the secrets to beat her, and she doesn't end up in S, but she very well might, and you do make good points.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the case. I agree. I mean, we would all like all factions to be like close in power or not be at least have a shot or not be have cards that are completely unplayable. But I think we would only it's unavoidable in this type of game. And the only way to get to that point would really be if there were mods, like in Steam, mods in which there could be a constant tuning of the units based on some type of tester consensus. I think we could get to that world only there because there are too many things that need to be tuned on the cards that it's hard to notice at first because the testers only have so much time to test stuff and there's too many opinions, I guess, there. But let's then just do some final comments on the factions, on the
Yeah,
keys
okay.
of the matchup. So for the Groaks, really easy. Like these guys are going to be coming at you, right? Like that's just the way Thunder Orcs roll. If they don't, that's great. You're probably going to win. You just want to like play the middle of the board, use the ranges you can, like get boosts, get potions, get value, and you're going to be winning. But otherwise, you want to try to slow them down. So the Wardens, I mean, are solid at that, but you want to get them in positions, if possible, in which they are not close by to a gate from the range of a smasher.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, they're a premium target. But even like that, like someone has to take those hits, right? But that's how you use them. The Mystic, it's totally playable. In this, usually you play all of them in many matchups, but in this matchup, you might be playing maybe one less or two less, just because you're going to be prioritizing the like getting all the warriors out, and they're going to be right in your face. So sometimes like you will just not feel like good value on getting one of those guys, but just because you get a boost out of it, you'll be playing as depending on the situation as many as you can. The champions might be hard to use here for the Grogs, just because you will probably, unless you start, I guess, like if you start, it could be different, but like Eldarath is always playable at first when you suddenly have like a little bit more magic, especially now that you're going to be discarding more at the beginning just to find those gates. And with that gay guy on the back, it's really like almost impossible to not have them just get a ton of boost, right? Because even if you kill the Wardens, they'll just be recycling everything. So he's playable, but once they're already in your face, like the guy is not that good, right? So don't prioritize him that much. The Kalik guy, like you won't really have time to use him properly. Same thing with Mirrodin. I haven't seen any of these games in which they end up in a situation that you have enough time to get value out of this guy. Things go out fast, and you want to focus on that, not on these champs. The warrior is key of this game, right? Like as usual, because they're going to be in your face. So this guy is the one that's going to be allowing you to be one-shotting the units that they throw at you, and that Grognak is not able to get like too comfortable. The truth is that just one hit on Grognak from this guy, like even if he's at 14, if you hit them and send them to something like 8, 7, whatever, then they are one shot away from dying, right?
Yeah.
With this deck, is able to have that threat around, so they can play completely differently. And for the Fury event, is not so much of a threat because now if they play it, they're going to be exposed in a way that they would die, right? So sometimes they just have to discard it. So that's another thing. Like for Fury, you definitely want to get it fast. That's when it shines. At the end of the game, you can still like you're not going to discard it because many times like you can deal the final damage that way with that one. But back to the Groaks, the Seer won't be as good as usual. Like you will still probably have like one or two around, buying you time, like finishing off units that the Warden is hitting or the Warrior is hitting, but not for 6. So you still have a couple, but as we saw in these games, you want to be careful with the space on the back because things can get tough there, like once they're in your face. And the event, Poison Potion, I wouldn't waste my time with it. Like they just have tons of extra health to waste on this. Like if you play it, like those shamans are great for that. Like even the smashers, like even if the smasher goes to 5, you still probably need 2 attacks to kill him. So it doesn't make much of a difference. Strong potion and swift potion, they're great as usual. Like there's almost no commitment or cost on it. It's a 0, and you will most times have a lot of boost around, and you will definitely need them to be able to do those like finisher attacks, like what we saw in this game, in which you attack melee, remove it, and then Hecate attacks from the back, those type of things.
Yeah.
Or just having one boost around with those ones, like if you only have one left, that's enough of a threat so that the Tundra Orcs cannot get comfortable, because now you have to think that any warrior that comes out doesn't just move 2, but moves 3, right? So you always want to have one around if possible. If the game goes long, you'll be using 2. And strong potions, same thing. Like you want to have those around so that when you hit it with a warrior or you have like a seer that is about to die, you don't waste those counters and you put them into a potion. So other than that, it's the usual game for the Groaks, kind of like setting up your perimeter on the back and just building up value and potions, etc. Right? So
Did you want to
it's going
mention
to go.
Wither Potion?
Yeah, Wither Potion to close out with those guys. It's like it's not bad in this matchup. Like if you get a chance to play, it's also not great. That's the thing, right? Like if you need the magic. For something else, if you're in a tight spot like I was in these games that I had it, like you will just drop it immediately. But if you're in a decent situation that you have the board in a certain like relatively controlled and you have like boost, and those boosts might go to waste maybe because you move them into a warrior and he hit, like rather than just see those boosts go to waste, I would definitely play the Wither Potion because it really messes up with the like two attack units, right? Like, and also with a shaman, like it's very unlikely now that a shaman will deal any damage. The fighters and the other dudes, the chargers, like attacking for 1 are really not a big deal. The smashers, like when they play Wither Potion against you, that's when you want to have your smashers around because they're still a threat. You want to still be able to hit with Grognak. That's when having like the Shank Champ is great because that way it doesn't really hurt him. But for everything else, it really hurts to have a Wither Potion around. So that one, when the situation allows you to do it, it's definitely going to slow them down and not allow them to be such a big threat. Another reason why it's not such amazing is that, well, that's the perfect situation. When they play that, if you have a 4 Glory around, that's where you're going to play it, right? To at least remove that devastating effect of the potion. So that's why it's just situational, and it's just if you have the resources.
Yeah, gotcha.
And okay, so the orcs. So I mean, we've talked everything about the strategy, the approach you want to follow, and all that. So let's just take a look at the value of all the cards in this one, like for this specific matchup.
Yeah.
So for glory is still amazing, just like with every matchup, right? Because like you're gonna be able. I love using for glory, like with a shaman. Like they hit your shaman, but they rarely gonna kill him on the same turn. So then, like, yeah, when you get a 4 glory and hit with him and it dies, that's the best that you can hope, right? Because they won't be getting the magic out of it. You just got like a huge hit. Many times here it allows you to do the double attack on the same flank. Like, let's say Hecatia is on the back, just like single flank exposed. You send the charger, attacks for 4, then you attack with the shaman. Suddenly you're hitting for 7 or 8, right? And now they just have to be hiding. So it allows you to do all those things. I would usually not discard them. Sometimes, like if you draw two at the beginning or something like that hurts. I would try to find a situation to use them. But if not, like, well, you'll just have to discard one. But I don't mind like keeping one with me, right? Like keeping one with me until I find that situation to use it, because it's not that hard to find a situation to get like some good value out of it.
Yeah, gotcha.
The Chargers are aligned to this strategy with the Four Glory. So usually the Chargers, like you don't play all of them, you discard many of them. But in this matchup, because of that thing with the range in which you need to be able to keep the pressure, keep the reaching those summoning spots that you cannot reach normally on the field just with your initial gate. These guys allow you to do that, right? Like allow you to still get there, hit Hekatia when they thought that they were safe, that they were in a good spot. So, and I love the combo with this guy, like bringing him out, even when you're not hitting Hekatia, like just for a 4 glory turn, hoping that he will die after hitting for 4 so that they don't get the magic, and being able to bring down those big units like the Wardens, the Warriors, or guaranteeing like the series going down, like the series that has some boost. Like that's as good as it gets. And the Charger allows you to do that. I wouldn't keep them for long. Like if I have them at the beginning, that's the type of unit that I might discard unless I know that I'm gonna use it the next turn for a specific thing, like the play that I had in which I keep him because I needed him to be able to block your summoning spot. But other than that, I like it's not like you're gonna play some. Like that's the type of unit that you will discard unless you have another use for him. The shaman is great because it takes a couple of attacks of the opponent to take him out. It allows you to keep to attack Hekatia that is going to be all the way on the back. Like most of the games, you'll see them all the way on the back, taking out the units that you're bringing forward that are attacking their units. So this guy allows you to at least punish Hekatia whenever they do that, hoping that you get some of the rolls. It's important to always have them within the range of Grognak, because that way, like you're sure you're gonna, well, not sure, but you have a high chance of getting some damage at least. Otherwise, you have a high chance of not getting anything if they're not within the range of the ability of Grognak, allowing you to reroll. The fighters are not as great as usual in this matchup because, well, the Wardens don't really mind that much about these guys, and the Wardens are usually going to be protecting other type of units. So your priority is to take down those big units. It's not like you're not going to use it. Like the thing is, instead of using the 5 of them or the 4 of them, which is the usual thing in most games, maybe you're only going to be using 3. Maybe you're going to be only using 2, right? So that's the difference on this one. Like once you have some forward gates, these guys are great to be the second unit that brings down a Warden between a Smasher and a Warden that like clears the Mystics. So they're still great because the potential for the Frenzy turns are massive. Like we just saw right now, like sometimes a single Frenzy can just give you a game because now you're hitting Hekatia, blocking the summoning spot, and now that just slows them down completely. So it's still a good unit, but don't be afraid to discard like one, whatever, like you need to draw some smashers or some gates or things like that. As many of the units from the opponent, like they don't have 2 health. That's the bottom line. Like the fact that this guy cannot come down and just kill like a small unit because all units survive the fighter except for the Mystic. So that's why he's not as useful as usual. And the Smasher, I think in this matchup is the one that you're going to try to play the 4 of them. Most of the games, like you end up playing like 3 smashers, something like that in most matchups. But in this one, I would try to like play all of them, unless you end up like I did in this game, like having 3 in hand by turn 2 or 3. Like at that point, you know that at least you'll have to discard one. All the champions are not as useful as usual. Like Thunder Orcs, I like it because it's a deck that always plays, well, most of the times at least plays 1 champion, many times plays 2. Sometimes you even play 3 against the decks that give you a lot of magic. All the champions are pretty useful in certain situations, but just because of those warriors, they're going to be a bit less useful than usual, right? Like in this case, you play Shunk sometimes just to buy you some time. He might not be that significant. Ragnar, same thing. Like it's hard to invest 5. Yeah, you comes down, kills a unit, maybe gives you a boost, and then gets killed in a turn or two. Like it's always tough to deal with that. So I wouldn't prioritize them that much, and I wouldn't be holding them for long. Like I would only keep them maybe one turn if you know because of the board that you're gonna play them next turn. Otherwise, I would rather just keep the deck flowing, making sure that I get those 4 gates to support Grognak moving forward, and then just keep the unending advance of fighters and smashers coming out of those gates and putting pressure. I would rather prioritize that than clogging my hand with one of those champs.
Interesting.
And the other events, I freeze, we already mentioned it through the call that you will always discard it unless you're already in that situation in which you're all the way forward and you're going to use it to clog the mobility of Hecatia so that they cannot escape, or they're not able to like summon something out of like a specific spot, cut the board in two so that like they're not able to bring stuff from the other side. That type of situation, it can be like devastating, right? It could be
Yeah.
something that is really significant in the game. But never keep it unless you're already in that situation and just get the magic. Because sometimes that situation will just never happen just because of the counters, right? Like
Yeah.
they can just put a counter on something and then forget the freeze chance. But every now and then, if you encounter that, like it's going to be pretty sweet to win the game with play with freeze.
Uh-huh.
Fury is like key in this matchup because it will allow you to do some like assassination combos against Hecatia. So, or just do plays like this in which you go deep in and just block the spots. The best situation you can have is having it in your opening hand and then just drawing the second one pretty soon. Because once you draw it when you're 3-4 life already on the back, unless you're planning a brutal force turn to just finish off Hecatia, then you might not even have a use for it, right? If it's at the end of the game. But just try to get as much value as you can, either to put pressure or just finish off 2 units. Try to not use it on a like 4 health unit that you have to kill to then be able to use the other one,
Uh-huh.
if possible, because many times like you might just you lose your card if you do that.
Yeah.
And finally, brutal force. It's I would say the as usual, but in this case a little bit more important than usually. Like usually you use it, try to find the situation in which you get the summoner in a chain that you just kill it, right? Or a champion and then just kill the champion in a single turn. But if you don't find if you're not in that situation, then you just discard it most of the time, at least the first one. And then just hope that when you get to the second one, the game has gotten into that state. In this
Uh-huh.
case, it's going to be similar, but if you manage to be like pretty close to them with some forward gates, it is easier to find those situations, right? Because you're going to be able to come with your melee units pretty close by to everything they have on the back. So, depending on the board state, maybe sometimes you can keep it. And let's say that it's the middle of the game and Hecate is around 8, and you're finding that situation that to just like finish off the game. Like holding Fury and Brutal Force might allow you to suddenly take the game away from them when they thought that they were pretty safe, just giving you a single flank or something like that. So
Uh-huh.
it's still useful, but you have to build for that situation, for that board state that will allow you to do that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. I think my only question through all of that is what do you do about warriors? Like what is the game plan for warriors? Because like obviously like smashes are a big thing to just take down all of the like the wardens, warrior, all high health units that Hecatea might play. Smash is a great response, but we don't really want our smashers just getting one shot by a warrior every time. Is the play against warriors like to try to position like lower health fighters and chargers in spots to so that you're not always getting your high value units one shot, or is there just no real way to play around the warriors besides like to protect Grognak, obviously?
Yeah, it is like what you would hope for, but the reality is that many times, like the warrior is going to end up being in a spot in which sorry, the smasher is going to be in a spot in which the warrior just can come and do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at least when they do that, you just need to be ready to then finish off the warrior, right? Like you
I
know
see.
that like that can happen, but it's better for it to happen on a smasher than to happen on Grognak. So
Yeah.
if they're doing it there, like ideally the best case scenario is that they don't have a potion to take the counters out. So at that point, like you're actually like happy if you, as long as you kill the warrior, at least you got rid of those 5 counters. If they use the counters, it's like, well, I mean, you can't really do anything about that. You just need to make sure to finish off the warrior, especially if Hekatia has more counters to make him a threat again. Like when they take the 5 out and then Hekatia also has 0 counters, it's not a priority. It's not like such a big deal. Like you can prioritize other units. But if Hekatia has some other 3 counters that can turn into 4 or 5 next turn because of the mystics, then it's a wise decision to prioritize the warrior at that point. But yeah, ideally you want to use like that's where you want your fighters to be. That's where you want your shamans to be on the sides where you know that those can come out of. That was kind of what I was trying to do in our game. Like you saw that on the side where you had a summoning spot open, I was leaving a charger and the shaman in the range of the warrior, right? So I didn't care if you brought a warrior out, but I was putting the smasher in a protected position, and I was putting Rognar in a position that the smasher traditionally wouldn't be able to hit it unless you combo it off with a swift potion.
Oh,
But that's kind of the approach that you can follow. Like you can bring out the smashers usually on the sides where they're going to be able to destroy the gates. That's where you want to use them for. Like unless they're coming out to finish off a warrior or help you bring down a warden, you want to try to prioritize whenever possible the side gates, because when you remove those side gates, it's much easier to control not giving the warriors targets, right? Because
uh-huh.
then like there's only like you can put in front like those small units and those are the only ones they can reach because now they only have the traditional like central summoning spots. So that's how I try to use the smashers when possible, but it's not always easy just because you already need to have a couple forward gates for that to happen. But one thing is that I would definitely try to use all the gates that you have with Tundra Orcs as forward gates, meaning fourth row of your side, fourth row of the opponent's side, or even third row of the opponent's side when you already like are all the way in, or even use like a gate to have that pressure, but also protect one of Grognak's side. That's how I would use all the gates there because they sometimes like make or break a whole game, like whoever has that gate.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Any final thoughts, comments on your end?
yeah, no,
What do you think of it?
that about that about sums it up for me. I think most of it was just interesting. I'm glad that we we finally had a time to like go through games move by move since they ended early, like discussing like how like normally I prefer this gate here, but you think this gate just because of how the Hecatea's units gonna have to be exposed to block it like that sort of that level of intricacy we don't normally have time to talk about. That's very interesting. And yeah, I guess it's I suppose matchups like this, it's two sides of the coin. You can be like, well, because it's like so quick and every little bit of it matters so much, like it's like less skill dependent, more about the draws. But on the other hand, you know, it's a ton of fun. And like the skill and decision making matters all the more for each single decision. Like one wrong decision is the difference between winning and losing in a lot of these situations in the games we just played. So
Yeah, yeah, and I'm curious about like what happens if the Tundra Orcs just played in the back midfield defensively. So I'll be checking like in the league to see if anyone follows that to see how it goes for the Orcs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wonder.
Yeah.
I feel like Hekatea would then start bringing out seers and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Like they'll start just building the usual stuff, right? Like the Seers on the back, the Wardens in the middle, the Mystics shooting with a Warden around, the Warriors destroying anything that gets close, like trying to take down the Wardens. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's why I think like it wouldn't really go well for the Orcs. But I think I've never seen it probably because I mean in all my games as the Orcs, I've always just try to put the pressure on, as that is one of the few things that can take out the Groaks, like the proper momentum, and then not getting like enough gates and all that stuff that can take down any faction.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's a good plug for the league as well. If you're like, huh, I wanna watch more games. That was really fun. You can click on the league, you can click on anyone who's completed a game, like, oh, it looks like some games have been completed over here. Click on record, and well, you can go and click on every single game that they play this season. So you can spectate, like, I don't know how many games are played in a given week. It's a lot. Let me check. But you there's so many more games that you could watch for each. Let's see. Okay, like almost 100. I
Mhm.
probably this season. So yeah, there's like 100 games to go watch. For each one of these matchups. And the community is also going to be talking about this matchup over on the Discord, which is I think also LinkedIn. Yep. It's right over here. You just click that button. That's the invite link to the Summoner Wars Discord. We're all playing the same matchup at the same time, at the same week in the league, so people are talking about it, discussing strategies. People might have opinions other than we've voiced today, so like feel free to keep the discussion going there, and feel free to at either of us if you have opinions about something we've talked about. And yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So perfect. I think that's a good point to wrap up. And then, yeah, next week it's probably not going to be a quick game. It looks like it's the Elves versus the Crimson Order.
Yeah, that looks geez. Geez. That's gonna be something. And all
All
right,
right.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yep, thanks so much for coming on. It was a blast.
Cool. See you, man.
All
Bye.
right, bye. Yep, and I'll be wrapping up as well. Thanks everyone so much for tuning in. Let me know how your league games go. Seems like a fun season ahead of us. Crimson Edda versus High Elves. I genuinely don't know how that's gonna go. That seems like a real a real something. Sand Goblin's Fallen Kingdom. I feel like it's gonna be Sand Goblin's favor. That's my experience. Could be wrong. Forge versus Mountain Vargath. I don't really know. I feel like it's probably even. And I think Wayfarers will struggle a bit about against Polar Dwarves. As that's what happens when I've tried it. But those are my predictions, and you're only just gonna have to come and see see how the games go. Oh yeah, they're always the ratios will always be displayed. So far only 15 games have finished, but we only started on Thursday, so there will be a win rate for the entire league by the end of this for this matchup. So yeah, tune in next week. Vexer and I will be playing Crimson Order versus High Elves. Actually, looking forward to the High Elves versus Crimson Order matchups. It does seem like a good match. Like, and I do like grindy matches. It's just those two factions are like currently on my like gritted teeth list. So to put them together sounds a little bit rough, and I definitely don't feel competent enough with either of them to put a decent but to do a decent match against Vexer. But don't tell him I said that. We'll do our best and see how we do. But it does feel like they would. I don't know. It feels like these two will have a like high elves have like great value, like can go to the long game with the arbiters of peace, but then Crimson Order can really counter that if high elves just try to turtle with just how many dice they can just pump out constantly. So seems like it could be a good matchup. We will have to see. I've been terribly wrong before. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you next week for another matchup showcase, and I will also hopefully see you this week, hopefully Tuesday night when we have 45-minute public queue games are live on the app, live on the desktop site as well. Hopefully I'll have time to stream and pop in that queue and play some. really hoping that that goes well. Tons of people join in, and it's popular. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. I will catch you around. Bye.